This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, October 21st at 12:30 p.m. My name is Nicola Junowitz, and I am proud to be your host on the Wisconsin Live Desk here for the next hour. Okay, so we've got a lot going on once again this afternoon, both locally and nationally. Right now, actually, we're going to kick things off here by listening into a City of Milwaukee permitting committee meeting where when I just listened in, they were talking about the future of the building that was home to the former Victor's nightclub in downtown Milwaukee. According to state property records, it had sold for $1 million. It was operating out of the building on 1230 North Van Buren Street for about 60 years. Up until the beginning of 2025. So let's listen in now on what they're saying about the future of that space.
An equal opportunity to try and fail.
Well, I'd rather be on record as trying to help people from not failing, and that's why I gave her my number.
Well, you do believe that people should have that opportunities, right? Isn't that what entrepreneurship is all about?
Yes, people should have the opportunity to fail, and those of us who've had success should try to help people not fail.
Mr. Taylor, you've tried to purchase this building in the last couple of years, haven't you?
Yes, I did, and that's when I found its preclusions, and you know, to fill up your ice machine, you have to walk outside to a short basement.
So that's a yes. And you did try to buy the building, right?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I did.
You couldn't strike a deal to buy the building, could you?
Correct. That's correct. Yes, sir.
You don't have a kitchen at Taylor's, do you?
No, I don't have a kitchen at Taylor's.
Okay. So if I understand some of your testimony, you're concerned about the kitchen and whether or not this business will thrive or fail? Is that it?
That is a lot of it, because she says she's going to have a food menu, and there aren't the logistical supporting coolers, freezers, space.
You do realize that there's an existing business in there, right?
Say that again, sir?
You do realize that there is an existing business at that location with a food program?
Yes, I know there's
and so that
existing
means
business.
And they have a food license, right?
Yes, they do.
And they serve food, right?
Yes, they do, and they're not succeeding.
In 2023, or back in 2022, you weren't necessarily a fan of the current operator, or you didn't want the current business that's located there. You didn't want that in that. You didn't want it in there, right? I have an email right now from January 18th of 2023, where you were asking the alderman to please help you shut down, or at least alluding to shutting down the business next door. Correct? You said you didn't like the music they played. You don't like the people that are coming there, and it's turned into trash. I mean, I could put the email in the record if you want me to do that, but I'm a little bit.
Whatever my email.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I did give Attorney Emil, I did want to give some latitude, but is it appropriate to discuss the previous applicant?
I think it's about motive.
Can I let the attorney check?
The door was a little bit opened, and so we did have a response. So if, again, we don't necessarily have the ability to object, as, you know, again, we are the committee hearing. I mean, we could reserve that to kind of relevance and make the testimony more expedient.
Okay.
So I guess we do have that right, but as far as limiting the testimony here, we can move it along. We can allow it in and move it along.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to withdraw my questions to the extent that his testimony isn't going to be relevant.
Okay. Yeah, and I wouldn't want him to bring up a previous applicant against her, so that's why I bring it up. But go ahead. Any further questions for the neighbor?
No.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Emil. All right, with that, we are in the 4th Aldermanic District. Alderman Bauman?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. There was a neighborhood meeting regarding this application last Friday. Approximately 6 adjoining neighboring businesses as well as the management company for the property owner, one of the property owners in the area. A lot of the same presentation was presented at that meeting. There were concerns expressed about exactly what type of business was this going to be. The application itself indicates it's going to be 70% alcohol, 25% food. So this really is not a restaurant. This is a bar, a club that will have a food menu, which is not unusual. But given the percentage of alcohol versus food sales, this is clearly a bar, and which is fine. I just want that to be clear. That was a concern raised that there was some sense of misrepresentation here. This was going to be a restaurant. This was going to be tame, low-key type of establishment when the application itself suggests otherwise. But that's neither here nor there. None of the other property owners or businesses expressed outright opposition.
It's so crazy.
There was concern.
Oh, shoot.
That the whole venture was underfunded. And why are people concerned about viability? There's actually a very legitimate reason to be concerned about viability, because if a new bar or restaurant is underfunded, isn't adequately capitalized, there is a risk of mission creep when the business plan starts to slide from restaurant, which is great, from lounge, which is great, to straight up nightclub with marketing plans and advertising plans that can contribute to disorder and issues. So that's why individuals are concerned about economic viability. I think there is a concern about economic viability. She testified at that neighborhood meeting that her investment in this premise is going to be from $200,000 to $250,000, which is not much when you're talking about build-out for expanded or improved kitchen facilities. But that's neither here nor there.
All right, you are listening in here to the Milwaukee Licenses Committee hearing, where we're waiting for them to hear in regards to whether or not Element Lounge on Water Street, what's going on with their permit and their situation. Now, all of this comes after deadly gunfire broke out at the nightclub in July. Basically, it kind of extends a decades-long span of violence that left 3 people dead and prompted nearly 250 calls to law enforcement in close to a decade. So, yes, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Milwaukee police officers have been called to 618 North Water Street 246 times from 2016 to July 15th. So that is the, I guess, the case that we're waiting on to hear at this meeting. So that is something we're watching for right now. We're also waiting to hear an update on the government shutdown, now officially in its 3rd week. From Senate Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. We're also going to get an update from our Brett Lemoyne as well. He's going to be joining us with a live interview at 1:15. So let's listen back into this licenses meeting.
And it was sent, by the way, it was added to at least it's sent to the Alderman's
Maybe the
office or
attorney
whatever,
was
but-
incorrect. Is it already a part of the record?
It can be part of the record, but
Jim
I do
Cooney,
know-
is it all? 1 second, attorney. Is it already a part of the record?
It's not part of the license file. Currently, we have the.
Oh, it's not.
I have no objections to having it be part of the record. That's why I submitted it. I have objections to wholesale adopting a business plan as now part of the plan of operation. The plan of operation is stated in a way. Business plans are drafted in qualitative language, not quantitative language. So I have no objections to having it be part of the record. That's what I'll say.
Well, I'll just make the point for the record. They relied on their business plan to sell this to neighbors. So that should be their plan of operation. It's what they relied upon to convince all of us to support the application.
I don't like the fact that rules keep changing at these tables when people look differently, and it's becoming a thing, and I don't like it. That has never been the modus operandi. We usually adopt it and add it as part of the record. If you're asking for specific plan of operation changes, those are things like hours. Those are things like security plans, not a wholesale qualitative business plan. I've started so many businesses, and you don't add business plans in the wholesale form as part of as the plan of operation. If there's specific objective things,
Attorney Emil, I hear your frustration. It was a suggestion by the alder that we add this to the applicant's business plan. I'm hearing you say you're not crazy about adding it to the plan of operation, but perhaps just to the record. Is that sufficient, Alderman Bauman?
No, it really isn't sufficient. Then I'll object and ask the committee to deny it.
Okay. See, there was no reason. He just wasn't an objection, Attorney Emil. I implore you, Attorney Emil.
I just want to make sure we have a very...
Is this the hill that you want to die on?
It's not the hill I want to die on, but I hate the fact that we have to make these choices when others don't have to. For the first time on that street, there was a community meeting that was never had for anybody else who's not been black or a woman. All of a sudden, we're being asked questions about finances. 2 bars have been opened up in that district for the last year. None of them had a community meeting. They all have alcohol programs. We have a neighbor who tried to shut down the current business owner, given the time of day, doing some CSI-like investigation, all to tarnish her image. And now I'm being asked, and we're being asked, is this the hill we want to die on? Why is that question always being asked when it is us? And that's what I don't like. And the thing about it is, yes, obviously, to let sleeping dogs lie, we can say, yes, that's fine. We'll let it go. But that's what happens, and that's how injustice creeps up. And all of a sudden, Mr. Tino Bates, who owned this establishment, wanted it to be 25 in the first place because he thought that was the only way he could even be heard, because he didn't think they would want a black owner on the street. So if that's the hill I want to die on, no, it's not the hill I want to die on. I'm just mad that we have to make these choices, because what would have happened if this weren't some game would have been, hey, the alderman asked for a business plan. We asked for a meeting 3 months ago. He had the business plan about a month ago, and he would have said, hey, guess what, right? We're not just adding it to the record. We're going to be amending your plan of operation based off of that. It's not about the fact that what's reflected in here is incorrect. No, but business plans serve different purposes as opposed to actual plans of operation. But the game keeps changing up here, and we have to adapt, and we have to make these choices. And I'm being asked if this is a hill I want to die on. No, I don't want to die on any hills. There shouldn't be any hills to be died on, because that's not what everybody else on that street is subjected to. And I'm supposed to just smile and be a good guy, right? Because, but at a certain point in time, we have to call a spade a spade. So if that was what stands in between the committee's decision to not grant my clients a license, we'll amend the plan of operation. But the fact that I objected to it has nothing to do with duplicitousness. It's being asked to fulfill requirements that no one else has to, being made to jump through hoops that no one else has to. I have a philosophy. If you're not giving me money, you don't ask where my money's coming from. So is this the hill we want to die on? No, it's not.
Thank you, Attorney Emil. Again, I note your frustration. I do want to note, please, it's not unprecedented for an alder to ask if you would consider adding this to one's plan of operation. Does it happen in every single case, every single application? Correct. You're correct. Not every single applicant is asked, but you know that sometimes they are asked. Again, I note your frustration, but I'm asking you, is this what you want added to the plan of operation, Bob? I'm asking you to confer with the applicant to see, would she be willing to add this to the plan of operation, please? I note your frustration. And I feel your frustration. I do also want to give the floor to Alderman Burgelis, who has been waiting to make an inquiry. But if you'll, again, just chew on this for a moment, Attorney Emil. But again, I do absolutely note your frustration. Please, Alderman Burgelis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question for licensing. How many business plans have we added to a plan of operation in the last year?
It's not unprecedented. I don't know offhand. I can get you that number, though.
More than 5?
To add a supplemental plan, it sounds about right, but
I don't think that it's appropriate to add a business plan which has a different audience than a plan of operation. A plan of operation is a legal agreement between the applicant and the city on what they're going to do, and it's binding. So if someone does not adhere to their plan of operation, this committee can take action in the future. I don't think that a business plan is appropriate to be added to a plan of operation. There is a lot of speculation and, like the attorney said, qualitative language in that opens a Pandora's box for the licensing committee and, frankly, a revocation hearing in the future. I don't agree with that sentiment. the answer from licensing that it's not unprecedented, but we've done it in the past. I would ask for specific examples of when that's been done, because I've been on this committee for a year and a half, and I can't remember a business plan being added. We've had menus, we've had other neighborhood comments and diagrams, but no business plan that I can remember has been added to the plan of operation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Brower.
Yeah, to kind of echo what Alderman Bergelis is saying, I guess my question to Alderman Baumann would be, or to the applicant would be, just to continue on that sentiment that like there's a lot of specifics in here that we may or may not want to hold an applicant to in the future. I mean, like it lists the number of bartenders and, you know, the accounting firm that they're using. I mean, we wouldn't want to necessarily hold the applicant in the future to things like that. I mean, but are you seeing anything here, Alderman, have you seen anything in here that I think would help clarify where this conversation goes? Are you seeing anything in here that is inconsistent with what things they've said elsewhere or something that needs to be clarified with the applicant?
No, I thought the business plan was well done. It laid out what their vision is for the business, how they intend to operate it, market it, what type of customers they're looking for, and that is the operating plan. Mm-hmm. And that's my whole point.
Okay.
There's concern that it may not end up being that. And I hope it does. I hope the business actually turns out the way it's been represented, because then it sounds like a very positive addition to the Easttown neighborhood.
I just hesitate to know whether, like, you know, if they do go with EWH accounting in the future or not. I mean, hopefully they use an accountant. I don't necessarily care which firm. I mean, you're right. Yeah, that's kind of my thinking about.
So we can make the business plan part of the record, but not part of the plan of operation. Yet it'll be in the record, which should be something we can refer to in future hearings if there's deviation from the business plan.
That's fine with us.
We've had all this huffing and puffing over semantics. It doesn't matter.
You invited the huffing and puffing. I'll huff and
Attorney
puff every
Emile,
day.
Attorney Emile, you do not have the floor. Alderman Baumann.
Whatever the chair wants to do. I told you that for the outset, based on the neighborhood input, I have no objection to this license. I would think that's their principal objective, is to get a license. But they want to make speeches. Okay, make your speeches. It's a free country. I appreciate that. But it's wasted a lot of time from the next matter, which will be very lengthy. And fine, make the business plan part of the record, not part of the plan of operation. Okay, semantics, but that's fine.
Okay.
If that's a big deal to them, fine.
Alderman Baumann, I appreciate that compromise. Attorney Emile, will you make...
Madam Chair, entry into the record is by determination for the committee. Change of the business plan of operation is by consent of the applicant.
Oh, so we don't need an amendment from...
Correct. We can enter that.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Appreciate, again, the compromise from Alderman Baumann. Appreciate the dialogue from the applicant's counsel as well as my committee members. Do we need to make a motion to add this? Or?
No, it's I mean, you've accepted it into evidence, so you've effectively created it in the record.
Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make a comment that these documents that the applicant handed to us should be made a part of the record.
Just the plan.
All right. With that, anything further, Alderman Baumann?
Nope.
Okay, then I will give it to the applicant to make some closing remarks before we head into committee.
Thank you very much. And I wasn't huffing and puffing. I was asked, and he said he was going to withdraw his support. You can read the record. It's on camera. If we did not consent to have that be part of the plan of operation. And so, yes, I will huff and puff at injustice any single day of the week. I don't care who's saying it, because that's what the system's supposed to be. And I really appreciate everyone for at least seeing through this and actually making the right call here. And, yeah, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Attorney. All right, with that, we'll head into committee. Does the committee have a motion?
Move approval.
Alderman Peter Bergelis has moved approval.
Okay, you are listening in live to the Milwaukee Licenses Committee meeting where they are going over permitting for different establishments in and around the city of Milwaukee. They just went into committee. We are told by our reporter who is covering the case of Elements Lounge, their permit is up, and essentially this Elements nightclub has been A little bit controversial, I'll say that. Milwaukee police are actually looking to revoke their license because of just, quite frankly, the number of calls that have been made to Milwaukee police from this Water Street nightclub over the last several years. So we're going to take a quick break now, and I will see you on the other side of it. Hopefully we can pick up the conversation on the license for Elements Nightclub.
Doing business as
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. The time is 12:52 on your Tuesday, October 21st. We're taking a live look here into the Milwaukee Licenses Committee meeting, where, as you might just saw earlier there in that shot of the room, it is just packed right now with people who are coming for a conversation about whether to close Elements Lounge that's on Water Street. This is in response to, quite frankly, a lot of calls to Milwaukee police. We're talking hundreds of calls to Milwaukee police over the last 10 years or so. Most recently, it was the site of a mass shooting that happened on Water Street over the summer back in July. We know that 5 people were shot on Water Street. 2 of them died. Again, this was back in July. And because of reported violence to that nightclub, there are now a lot of calls from members of the community to revoke its license, which would in essence shut it down. Alderman Bob Bauman represents the 4th District. That's where the shooting happened over the summer. He said that a Milwaukee police captain had alerted him of the tragedy. He says, "I was horrified by what he described to me, a very brutal, almost gangland type hit with a vehicle, multiple people firing weapons, probably automatic weapons, and a lot of bullets were flying." Again, this is describing the Water Street shooting from back in July, where 5 people were shot and 2 of those victims tragically passed away. This is sort of what sparked the most recent calls to close this lounge. This is not the first time this has come up before the Licenses Committee. This time, though, we should note that the Milwaukee Police Department is the one that filed the complaint to have their license revoked. So, without further ado, let's listen in now to the Milwaukee Licenses Committee hearing the conversations that are going to come about in terms of whether or not their license should be revoked. Our understanding is that 12 people are set to testify on this matter. All right, let's take it.
all right. And then did you introduce yourself, Nate? I'm sorry.
Nate Adamson, City Attorney's Office,
Okay.
representing the Milwaukee Police Department. Hello, everyone.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry, Attorney Gresham, did you?
MPD and licensing, I think, have they chimed in as far as their?
Let me see. Let's just. They were next. I was letting Nate state his appearance for the record. And then, yes, Sergeant Velasquez, is there a police report?
On 6/15/25 at 3:01 a.m., Milwaukee police were dispatched to a shooting at 525 North Water. Investigation revealed an altercation began at 618 North Water Street shortly after closing. A subject stated they had unintentionally discharged their weapon, shooting the victim in the rear leg while being jumped by a group of individuals. The officer noted no one from the business called the police regarding the incident. The business was closed, therefore the officers did not interview anyone from the business. On 7/12/25 at 12:04 a.m., Milwaukee police were dispatched to a shooting at 618 North Water Street. Investigation revealed two vehicles stopped in the street in front of the business, and individuals in the vehicles began firing shots into a group of individuals that were standing outside, causing the death of 2 and 4 others to be transported to a hospital. The agent stated a victim was promoting a party and was outside waiting for musicians to arrive when the shooting occurred. The agent stated due to the event, they hired additional security and extra security measures were in place. The business allowed officers to recover video surveillance of the incident.
Okay. All right. Would the applicant like to speak to the police report?
Yes. At this time, I just would like to defer the police report to the testimony and the sworn complaint that's been offered by Captain Thiel. I think that'd be most appropriate. And I also want to go on a record. I think we should have Captain Thiel start off the testimony because I have some specific procedural questions to ask him concerning the Milwaukee Police Department utilizing a complaint procedure outlined in Chapter 125 versus instead of going through the committee's, Licenses Committee and Common Council's normal procedure. My interview of Captain Thiel at the moment would be very short. Just a couple procedural issues I want to ask him. Where does he live? I'll stick your I got to ask him if he's sworn to the complaint.
I mean, now I have to give it to the committee to ask questions of the police report at this time. Attorney Bobbitt.
The motion stands, or the appeal by the applicant stands. It can be dealt with after the questioning by committee.
Okay.
As far as procedure and process and order, again, it's by committee direction, frankly, chair's direction. Normally, we take the revocation and complaints, and then we proceed to objections to that or, I guess, contest within that.
I mean, yeah, it pretty quickly does become MPD's time for testimony, Attorney Bobbitt, so I'd like to just follow my timeline here. I have questions on the police report.
Well, I have many questions on the police report, too, but it's going to necessitate me calling our witnesses.
Okay, but I'm the chairperson.
What would you like me to do?
I would like to ask questions about the police report, which is the protocol. So,
okay, you can ask.
But ultimately, we'll get to the. I mean,
okay.
Sooner than you think, it'll be time for Captain Thiel to testify.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. I do want to ask around the police report. In particular, item 1, it does indicate that nobody from the business reached out to police. And this was around an altercation that included the discharging of a weapon. So I'd like to ask the applicant to respond to that.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll have to call a witness, but I can briefly tell you what that's about. First of all, they closed that day at 2:05 a.m.
Okay.
The business was closed. In fact, the employees were already at their house when this happened. This did not happen at the Element. It happened about a block away in a parking lot. And if you want, I can start calling witnesses to that exact same thing about, and I was trying to save this or allow this when we had testimony in the confines of the complaint. But if you want, I can call witnesses. We dispute that the business did anything wrong at this. It didn't happen at the business. It happened almost an hour after they closed at another parking lot that should have had security that didn't. But if you want, I'll call the witnesses.
Okay, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. Thank you, Attorney Bobbitt. Doesn't the business utilize an adjacent parking lot? Don't some of the clientele use a parking lot that's nearby?
But it's unrelated to the business operation.
Not this one? Not this parking lot?
There's parking lots all over there, and that parking lot is utilized by surrounding businesses, not just my clients.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Attorney Bobbin. Further question? Alderman Burgellis.
Thank you. You stated that the business closed at what time that night?
Around 2:05 a.m.
And what's the plan of operation?
Well, I believe they can stay open until 2:30, but they closed earlier.
And this was a Friday night or a Saturday night?
This was I believe it was a Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, so Friday night?
Yes.
And their plan of operation allows them to stay open until 2:30, but this happened at 2:05.
This is when they closed.
Oh, they closed at 2:05.
This happened at 3:01 a.m.
Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Further questions on the police report from committee members? Questions on the police report from Alderman Bauman?
No questions.
All right. Does MPD have to get questions?
Yeah.
Questions from Attorney Adamson on the police report?
No, I will be calling witnesses that talk about those two items in more detail.
Okay. All right. Very good. Then now we will move on to exactly where you wanted to go, Attorney Bobbitt. MPD testimony. It is time to present the complaint. Would the police department present their complaint and any witnesses? Attorney Adamson?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much. So at this point, Mr. Baines began operating this business June 1st, 2025, and within a month and a half, we've had 2 shootings associated with patrons from his establishment in the downtown area. The downtown area is incredibly important for our economy, and it's delicate, and I'll present evidence to that end. And to that point, when we're looking at the plan of operation for this business, it should be compared against the one that was in 2021. In 2021 and 2025, we have almost identical plans of operation. We have almost identical handwriting, to be honest with you. And then what you have is actually the 2025 operation has more security guards. So when the licenses committee suspended the license for Element 60 days for a previous fatal shooting in 2021, I think that we can consider that under the totality of the circumstances, in that this plan of operation is not appropriately working and a suspension is not enough. So to begin with the viability and the importance of downtown, I would like to call Matt Dorner.
All right.
Okay, at this time, I just want to lodge an objection.
Okay.
Opposing counsel has made a closing statement, and I object to him not calling the complainant that swore to the complaint as his first witness.
Okay, 2 objections there, Alderman. I'm sorry, Attorney Bobbitt.
Okay.
All right, I certainly note that. You feel that he started with a closing statement as opposed to an opening statement?
That's correct. And I feel it's important that he start with the person that swore out the complaint.
Okay, and and instead you're calling another officer, is that right?
No.
Attorney?
No, I'm calling Mr. Dorner from bid 21.
Oh, from the bid?
Yes.
All right. Does it Attorney Gresham, does it matter who we start with?
I don't believe so. I don't think that there's any code section or statutory requirement to start with the sworn complainant. The complaint does have to be sworn and is sworn. As far as leading off with the complaining individual, I don't believe that that's a requirement.
Okay. All right, but I certainly note your objections. Thank you, Attorney Bobbitt.
Well, I just want to comment on what was said. I do have a procedural challenge. That's why I believe it should go first. The state statute clearly states that you have to be a resident of the city of Milwaukee. There is a city ordinance that allows the chief of police to swear a complaint out against an establishment. However, the person that swore the complaint is not the chief, it's a captain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I brought those up as procedural challenges that should go first.
So you would like to hear from Captain Thiel?
Yes, and it's going to be very short. I anticipate less than 5 minutes.
I'll stipulate that he's not a City of Milwaukee resident, and that will eliminate the questioning. It was a notarized sworn complaint, so there's no evidence to suggest that it wasn't properly sworn to. As relates to the residency challenge, yes, the Wisconsin State statute under Chapter 125 does have different provisions for revocation proceedings. We have it by local authorities on the citizen, then we have it by the division, which duly authorized employees. But none of that matters because the statute enables us to pass our own regulation in the regulation of the sale of alcohol, which we did under Chapter 90, our MCO Chapter 90. And under MCO Chapter 90, we specifically say that the chief of police can initiate revocation proceedings. And the rest of Chapter MCO 90 refers to the chief of police, but a lot of the functions are done through the designees, such as sitting here at the table, it is not Chief Norman. So the duly appointed, duly authorized designee provides standing, does have standing from the chief of police to initiate this action, which was done here, pursuant to our own city code.
Well, just so you know, I differ immensely with what he just stated. The city ordinance is very clear. By the chief of police. It doesn't say chief of police or designee. Second of all, I want to question the captain regarding whether or not this was a sworn complaint. I don't care if it's notarized at all. I know that self-authenticates the document, but I have rightfully subpoenaed Captain Thiel to be here today so I could ask him that exact question.
And we are going to hear from Captain Thiel.
Yes, he's the last witness.
But you're...
Well, why would you put him at the last witness when he should really be the first witness?
I think what Vince is trying to say, is if he didn't do
Use your
something
microphone.
properly,
Use your microphone.
if the captain didn't do something properly, then everything has to get thrown out. And that's what I think we're trying to get to. I mean, it would be simple, right? To challenge the validity of and the form of the complaint,
Attorney
which takes
Gresham.
30 seconds.
Attorney Gresham, what?
They
Just arguing about who goes first? I mean,
It's very much, I mean, it could be understood as a live argument. It could also be understood as something that is easily resolvable, as the attorney for MPD has indicated. Order and procedure are by this committee at the discretion of the chair. So the objection that's raised, or potential objection, we don't have, I guess, a full-throated objection. We might have one if we construct an objection to the order with which witnesses are being called. I mean, it's not necessarily material to having this. I mean, the order that is set up by the complainant is very much, it's their complaint. They can kind of, they can push this along as they so choose. And so we can address the objection as it comes up with Captain Thiel when Captain Thiel appears. I mean, if the committee wants to resolve itself to have that testimony now, again, above the complainant, that's at your discretion, but I don't think that it's necessary.
okay. All right, very good. Any final thoughts, Attorney Adamson?
Whatever you would like me to do, I will do.
Okay. I'm going to move forward, unless anybody on the committee wants to chime in. I was going to move forward with, who's the person again?
Matt Dorner.
Matt Dorner, unless any committee members would like to object to that at this time. Okay, if not, then I call Matt Dorner up to the standing mic. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
All right, and now I just give it to Attorney Adamson for questioning immediately, correct?
Yep.
You should have been, were you sworn in,
I
sir?
was sworn in, yep,
Yes,
absolutely. So,
yes, thank you for that. Attorney Adamson?
May I, point of order? Is there the 3-minute clock that's running on this or no?
No, I was not going to, did you want the 3-minute clock, Attorney
No,
Mason?
I wanted to know what the ground rules were before we went forward.
There is a point in time when I'll ask if there are neighbors present that want to testify, and I believe I will implement the 3-minute clock at that time. But as you guys are basically going to be crossing and asking questions, I didn't want to put a time limit.
Okay. Pursuant to city ordinance, we are both limited to 30 minutes per side in the presentation of our cases.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Except at the discretion of Madam Chair.
That's right. That's at my discretion.
Yes, at your discretion. I apologize.
There is a city ordinance that does reflect that, but again, at your discretion.
I mean, and certainly members have brought it to my attention. We've discussed it, but it would be a new precedent if we decided to enforce that ordinance today.
Okay.
You would like the 30-minute?
I will move expeditiously.
You guys want the 30-minute ordinance in place?
No, I don't. I think it's at your discretion. I know exactly what opposing counsel has stated, but you're the boss. We're calling Matt Dorner.
I mean, I appreciate the bringing up of this ordinance that was passed by alders who don't even preside in this body anymore. And I do want to have that dialogue around whether or not we need to enforce that ordinance. But it would be unprecedented. Not one of these committee members, as far as I know, unless I know Alder Pratt has more experience than anybody else on this committee serving here, but I do not believe that we invoked this ordinance. I don't think we've invoked this ordinance at all during my tenure.
I'm sorry, I was just bringing it up.
All right, thank you. So we won't be adhering to that old ordinance that I think Zielinski might have passed.
Be gone with it.
All right, with that, I'll call forward. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dorn, you're already here. All right, shall I just give it to you, Nate?
Yes, please. Thank you. So you're here from Bid 21?
Correct.
Yes. For the record, what is Bid 21?
So Milwaukee Downtown Bid 21 was founded about 30 years ago on the core mission of creating a clean, safe, and friendly downtown Milwaukee. We represent about 450 commercial property owners in downtown Milwaukee and encompass about 1 square mile in the central business district.
How much effort has Bid 21 put into achieving those goals in downtown Milwaukee?
That is our core mission. We are 100%. Most of our budget goes into our public service ambassadors, our clean sweep ambassadors. We fund a homeless outreach program in partnership with Milwaukee County. Also fund a DA, community prosecutor. So a majority of our budget goes into our clean, safe, and friendly programming. And we do a lot of different strategic planning. We touch base with our stakeholders on a regular basis, most recently as a year and a half ago, where we had over 1,000 different folks that interact with downtown that weighed in. And again, after 30 years, reinforced that our top priorities must be establishing and continuing to maintain a clean, safe, and friendly downtown.
Now, you talk about reestablishing our priorities as those. Is there you mentioned in your statement that was submitted to the committee something about market research reinforcing those goals of Bid 21. So if you could elaborate on some of that information for the committee.
Sure, absolutely. So there's a lot of national research where even perceptions of safety, let alone real crimes, impact the perception of downtown, and ultimately which impacts people's decisions to live, work, and play, and continue to invest in downtown. And then also through our own research, like I mentioned, regularly touching base with our stakeholders. Again, what are the priorities? Where should the organization focus its resources? Again, reaffirming clean, safe, and friendly as where we need to be in order to continue to grow economically. You can have all the events and all of those placemaking activities, but if you don't have a clean, safe, friendly downtown, that's got to be the starting block.
What is the importance of the downtown to the city of Milwaukee?
Downtown Milwaukee, essentially the greater downtown area, represents about 3% of the city's landmass. This is something that we commonly monitor. About 3% of the city's overall landmass, but represents about 22% of the city's property tax base. So having a strong downtown is incredibly important because the tax base in downtown Milwaukee offsets the cost of services across the entire city. So police, fire, and all of those services. So again, continuing to protect that tax base is incredibly important.
What about not only in generating tax revenue, but what about employment?
Yeah, all of that's incredibly important. We've enjoyed a lot of really great success in downtown Milwaukee in recent years. We monitor since 2020 alone, and coming out of the pandemic or even during the pandemic, over almost 8,000 jobs have either relocated to downtown or been committed to downtown on the backs of Pfizer, Milwaukee Tool, Northwestern Mutual, and a number of others. So again, from a jobs perspective, having that, again, baseline of an environment that people feel comfortable in and continuing to invest.
Okay, you are listening live to the City of Milwaukee Licensing Committee meeting, where currently they are having a really in-depth conversation about whether or not Elements Lounge is going to have its license revoked. This is in light of a lot of violent incidents that have happened in the Water Street area and many calls to that nightclub because of violent incidents. So we know that just as recently as this past summer in July, 5 people were shot outside of that nightclub. 2 of them died. We know that the alderman, Robert Bauman, who represents the 4th District, that's the district that Elements Lounge is in, has been pushing for the lounge to close because they are concerned that it's just not safe for people to visit. We also know that they just got a new owner in the spring who's been sort of vowing to make this nightclub experience safer for people. They're also arguing as well that, a lot of the incidents that are happening on Water Street aren't necessarily associated with elements. Some people even saying that calls to the business, there are calls to the business even when the business is closed. So they feel like that's not really fair for Elements Lounge to be kind of roped into all of this bad press, if you will. I also want to add a few more details about this before we kind of wrap things up. Then we're going to check in with our reporter, Brett Lemoyne. I do know that the complaint was filed by Milwaukee police. So that is an important detail there. We just heard a testimony from the Milwaukee Police Department as well. Okay, now we're going to take a quick break here, and we are going to hear from Brett Lemoyne on his story for today. He's got a live interview for us that's coming up here in just 2 minutes. I'll see you soon. Got it.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk, everybody. My name is Nicola Junowitz. I'm proud to be your host on this Tuesday, October 21st. Okay, so now we're going to head live to Carroll University for their Project Homeless Connect. This is really neat. This is an annual event that brings resources and services together under one roof to best serve those experiencing homelessness. To give you a little bit of an idea here for just how impactful this day is, this organization is, last year, so in 2024, more than 650 people were served by more than 500 volunteers at the Milwaukee and Waukesha PHC events. So this is really a wide-reaching organization that's really helping a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness. So now we're going to go out to our reporter, Brett Lemoyne. He is at this event today talking to everyone who's coming together to help people who experience homelessness in our community. Brett, really the perfect time of year to do this because the winter months are coming, it's getting colder outside, and more people are going to be affected by this issue. Good afternoon.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, good afternoon, Nicola. And there were hundreds of people that were waiting just to get in today for this event. Right when they opened up the doors, within the first hour, they had about 150 people. So if that doesn't tell you anything just about the demand, I don't know what would. But listen to this. Here at Carroll, we're at the community center. There's 3 floors here. The United Way has taken over each floor. So each floor here has something going on. It's really, really massive, very, very in-depth, and lots to offer. I want to bring in Christina Kohler with the United Way. Thank you so much for joining us here. There's so much going on. Just kind of give us an overview of some of the services and things that are available.
Great. So this is a reimagined service fair to end homelessness or prevent it if you're at risk of it. We have healthcare, we have connection to shelter and housing programs. We have things related to employment. We have our Tequity devices. It's a connection to free laptops for those that need them. We have haircuts, vision screenings, birth certificate applications. I'm probably missing things.
But you said earlier that there were, within the first hour, you had a number of people that would just kind of floored you. Just describe to me what it was like that first hour that you opened this morning.
You know, last year we had about 150 people attend this event. That's what we were planning for this year. Within the first hour and a half, we had already exceeded that level of guests. Yeah.
And we should clarify, that's just Waukesha alone,
this is
right?
Just Waukesha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you just about the need here? Because I think there is a perception sometimes in the suburbs that homelessness is not a problem. That's not true.
Right, yeah. So homelessness, I think, is more pervasive than people realize. It looks like kids sleeping at grandma and grandpa's house. It looks like people really struggling to keep up with rent and maybe falling behind. There's a lot of this at risk of homelessness that we don't see, that people are just figuring it out. And then there's the homelessness that we do see, which is just a small sliver of the large problem.
How do you find individuals to come here? How do you get them to come? Because sometimes that's a challenge too.
Sure, yeah. One of the steps to ending homelessness is identifying everybody that's at risk of it, and that's what we do with all of these service providers that we work with. We have a whole planning team full of people from the community. They let their clients know, let their networks know. We put out flyers, at the libraries and things like that, and really just try to spread the word so as many people as possible can hear about this event.
Yeah, one of the things that you had just mentioned that we want to unpack a little bit is the digital divide. And you said that there is a huge giveaway here for about 150 individuals, right, that are going to get laptops today?
160 people are going to walk out of here with a new laptop. That'll help them bridge that divide to find employment or find their next house or do their homework at home.
Yeah. We spoke with a man named Willie, and we watched him as he went through the line to get a laptop today. And one of the things that struck me was afterwards, he said, this is also an opportunity to be able to connect with family, to connect with people. Yeah. Just speak to, the disconnect that a lot of homeless people, especially those with mental illness, have when they're out on the street.
Yeah, I think that's another portion of this. It's not just about housing or connection to employment or health resources. It's a connection to dignity and to be able to take those steps to reconnect, emotionally with others in your life.
I asked you, we spoke earlier, Christina and I, one of the questions that I asked you came up in our editorial meeting this morning, and I want to ask you again live. Okay. What does it cost society if we do nothing?
Right. It costs more on every level for us to ignore the problem of homelessness rather than to address it. It costs less to house a person than it does to meet their crisis services if they're just staying in an emergency room night after night. There's a huge social return on investment and real financial return on investment for every dollar we invest in homeless services.
Yeah, I mean, that really kind of puts it in perspective, I think, for folks, too, that this is not just people getting a free laptop, right? I mean, the $300 that it costs for the laptop, some people could argue could go elsewhere, but you're saying the return, you've got evidence, you've got facts to back this up that it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything here works. We know it works to end homelessness. We're really good at it in this community. And we're here to invest in those solutions that really do end this episode of homelessness.
Christina, just as a final thought, there's people watching at home probably wondering, what can I do to help, right? There's so many people that have generous hearts, not only in Waukesha County, but all over across our viewing area. What can people do to help you in your mission?
Oh, thank you for asking. Because the United Way right now is running our fall campaign. So this is a fundraising campaign that built up all the money we need to distribute 50,000 laptops to people by 2027. It invests in our solutions to ending family homelessness in our community. It invests in teen mental wellness, in our high schools. It invests in all of our reducing barriers to employment programs, getting people skill credentials so they can get a job. So please donate if you can. It really does make a huge difference, as you can see here today.
Yeah, and as Nicola pointed out at the start of the segment here, the cold weather is coming. People that are out on the streets need this help more than ever this time of year. Christina, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if that doesn't tell you about the need, I don't know what would, Nicola. It really, so many people here. And we spoke with, I alluded to him earlier, this man named Willie that we interviewed. He'll be part of my report that'll air later today on Fox Local and on air as well. And he said this is really a lifeline in a lot of ways. Not only again, when we were talking about that digital divide, but also just, coming here, he got his vision test, got a pair of glasses that he needed. He's living in transitional housing right now, and he says, he doesn't know where he would be without these types of resources. So super, super important.
It's just so phenomenal to me, Brett, that under one roof, right, in one place, you can have birth certificate applications, flu shots, haircuts.
Yeah.
It's kind of a one-stop shop for a group of people, I can imagine, who, they don't have I'm assuming, they may not have a car. It's hard to get around to all of these different resources, so why not just bring it all to one place?
And this will speak to me being naive. so record this.
No.
Nicola. I couldn't believe when I walked through the door today at Carroll. I guess I don't know what I was expecting. I was not expecting this. It's huge. I can't even put the shot here of this room doesn't even do it justice, because again, it's 3 floors here at Carroll, and every single space is devoted today to helping these individuals. It's really, I struggle to put it into words how massive this is. It's huge.
And it just kind of goes to show, Brett, all of the work, all of the planning that Project Homeless Connect does leading up to this day to make this possible. Thank you so much for your reporting this afternoon on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We certainly can't wait to learn more on our evening newscast tonight. Do you know yet, Brett, what shows you're going to be in?
This will air at 6 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, anytime on Fox Local.
Brett, thank you so much for your reporting, and thank you so much for that wide-ranging conversation, that excellent interview here. For folks at home who might be watching, as Brett mentioned, the event is at Carroll University, and it goes until how late today? If people still want to stop by or they know somebody?
3 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, it's still going on at this hour for a couple more hours. But, of course, we'll put some resources on our website, too, fox6now.com later today, in case people miss it and want to connect later.
I'm sure you will. Brett, thank you so much. All right, sounds good. I appreciate your time so much, as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's so wonderful that they do that. Wow. Oh, my gosh. You just think about all the work, all the planning, all the organization that goes into bringing all of these services, all these resources under one roof to multiple floors there at Carroll University. Yeah, as Brett just mentioned, if you or somebody you know is in need of these resources, you can check that out today at Carroll University's Campus Center. That's at 101 Northeast Avenue in Waukesha. It's from 10 until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So you've got about an hour and a half or so left if you'd like to go and check that out. Okay, thank you so much to Brett Lemoyne, as always, for being so generous with his reporting on the show. Now, we're going to take another quick break. And on the other side of it, I believe you will be joined by your host for the second hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm looking at her here through the window, Haley Spittler. I'm signing off until Friday. I will see you for the first hour of Wisconsin Live Desk this Friday. So if you want to tune in then, I would love to see you. All right. Without further ado, let's take a short break here.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley here at 1:30 taking over for Nicola, and then at 2:30 it will be our very own Kim Murphy, I believe, doing the final hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk today, this Tuesday afternoon. I do want to kind of quickly actually get us out to D.C., where we were hearing from some lawmakers who are speaking on the government shutdown. Of course, we are now in day 21. Hakeem Jeffries just stepped away from the mic, but we were hearing from him, of course, the House Minority Leader there. But we're going to get the sound up here and see if we can learn anything new on the government shutdown.
Exactly that person had done, what they were convicted of. And up until Donald Trump, nobody had ever been pardoned who had not paid back in restitution their victims of a crime, or paid back fines to the government. In other words, you had to make yourself completely whole, then you had to demonstrate that you were rehabilitated, that you accepted the reality of your offense. Now, contrast that with what happened with Trump. He gets in on his first day in office without any reports from the pardon attorney about any of these people, any recommendations saying that they have paid off their restitution, they've paid their fines, they've made peace with their victims and so on. They've apologized to the police. No, none of that had happened. Instead, they issued a blanket pardon for everybody who had stormed the Capitol and participated in the shocking and atrocious events of January 6th. So what do you have in that mix? You have people who have been convicted before for domestic violence, for assault, for armed robbery, you name it. Drug dealing, gun dealing, all of that's in there. And what do you know? After this mass pardon happens, people start getting picked up again. There's a guy down in Richmond who was burglarizing all of the houses in his neighborhood. And now this guy, Moynihan, says he's going to eliminate the minority leader of the United States House of Representatives. So they have enough people over at the Department of Justice who know a lot about January 6th, including Ed Martin, who was there tweeting on that day, describing it as a day of celebration like Mardi Gras, and his senior advisor, Jared Wise, who was here yelling, "Kill him," about the police, that they should know how to get these people into line, because it's a very dangerous situation. And I just want to add finally to what Mr. Jeffries said. Speaker Johnson described the exercise of First Amendment rights across the country by 6 or 7 million Americans as part of the No Kings rallies as a Hate America rally. The Hate America rally happened on January 6th, 2021. We saw what a Hate America rally looks like. There were more than 140 police officers who were wounded, injured, hospitalized. Many of them have been forced out of police work because of what happened on that day. And what does Speaker Johnson say about that? Nothing. Now, he's part of the cover-up. He's part of trying to sweep the whole thing under the rug. Meantime, you had 7 million people participating peacefully, non-violently, in the American political process yesterday, and everybody should be praised for that. Those protests were a model for First Amendment exercise in the United States.
Thank you. Speaking of the protests over the weekend, as you say, millions of Americans came out, the vast majority peaceful, old, young, all of that. However, Speaker Johnson displayed some of the signs that we saw, which did seem to indicate violence. One of them showing in effigy a picture of President Trump being hanged. Also, we've seen video of people saying that, for example, 8647 to them meant that they did want the president killed. How do you respond to those on the left using that kind of rhetoric?
We've continued to make clear in this country that political violence directed at anyone at any time for any reason, wherever it emanates from, is unacceptable. Democrats have made that clear. We don't see that coming from Republicans on the other side. We don't see that type of unequivocal denunciation. In fact, they've described the January 6th hate rally as Mardi Gras, as a normal tourist visit, as a parade, as a celebration, and then they pardon hundreds of violent people and unleash them back in communities across the United States of America. This group of people, these extremists on the other side, they have zero credibility, zero, on the issue of political violence. And these Republicans, they are not the party of law and order. They're the party of lawlessness and disorder in all of the ways, including the ongoing crime scene at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the country in real time. And we hear nothing but crickets from Mike Johnson and the other side of the aisle. Get lost with your denunciations. The No Kings protest was peaceful, it was powerful, and it was patriotic. Millions of people, more than 7 million people. And so I've got no time for these people on the other side of the aisle. We have continued to denounce political violence wherever it emanates from. It will be nice to see that type of denunciation coming from Republicans. Adelita, you want to say anything?
I think that in Arizona, we know very well what political violence looks like. Former Representative Gabby Giffords was shot while she was doing a Congress on Your Corner event. I think that what needs to be done is complete condemnation of any violence. And when you think about when we've all served locally, right? We all want to encourage people to get involved in our political system. The best representatives are those that are homegrown and are motivated to do this kind of service, like a public servant and servant leadership. And when we are faced with violence and attacks, it doesn't matter how strong people look on the outside.
Alrighty, if you are just joining us, we've been listening in here as some House Democrats have given their thoughts on the government shutdown. We also just saw that Chuck Schumer in the Senate has taken to the podium and is giving his thoughts on the government shutdown. So we're going to listen in here for a few minutes and hear his thoughts on day 21 of this government shutdown.
I understand it because they just finished. That's right. Republicans today will join the president to celebrate staying strong, being unified. So as millions of Americans continue to endure the pain of one of the longest shutdowns in American history, Republicans will be celebrating keeping it going. Isn't that a disgrace? Apparently, Republicans don't have the time of day to fix people's health care, to lower costs, but there's plenty of time for a photo op and celebrate their pain. Let me be clear. Americans don't have time for Republicans and Trump's parties. The pain for families is intensifying as notices continue to go out in the states. Every day this shutdown drags on. More families are getting letters from their insurers warning them that their premiums will skyrocket. For more than 20 million Americans, steep premium hikes, increase of 114%. Hundreds of millions could do more. Hundreds of millions more could see their costs skyrocket next year because it's going to go up for everybody, not just those on federal insurance. And that's not a headline. That's real life. That's food off the table. That's saving accounts drained dry after years of building them up. So time's running out. If Congress doesn't act by October 31st, millions of Americans will see higher premiums when open enrollment begins November 1st. The decisions made or not in the next 10 days will determine whether working families can afford their health care next year. And Americans are desperately looking to Republicans, the party in the majority, to do something about it. A CNBC poll from Friday found Americans now hold Donald Trump and Republicans responsible for the shutdown 53-37, more than we've seen it. 62% of Americans in the same poll disapprove of Trump's handling of inflation. The Senate GOP shrugs. The Speaker hides in his caucus. But at the end of the day, Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House. They control the agenda. They control the responsibility for what is happening. Trust me, I know. When I was Majority Leader, we passed 13 bipartisan CRs. No shutdowns because I negotiated with the Republicans and averted a shutdown every time. However, yesterday, Thune called Democrats galling for trying to find bipartisan fix to ACA. What's galling is doing nothing as 20 million Americans face the prospect of paying thousands and thousands more each year for health insurance. What's galling is saying there's nothing to negotiate when people from Maine to Alaska and every state in between are watching their premiums double. What's galling is hearing your parents are getting kicked out of their nursing home and you have no place where they can go and no real medical care for them. And what's galling is being okay with Kristi Noem getting a private plane, Donald Trump getting a new ballroom, Argentina getting $40 billion bailout while our farmers struggle, and then saying Americans don't deserve cheaper health care. That's what's galling. Americans deserve a government that works as hard as they do. Oh, and I heard Thune say on the floor today, Democrats are representing, our plans are for the radical left. Is it radical left to want people's health care prices to not go up? Is it radical left to not want people kicked out of nursing homes? Is it radical left to see that rural hospitals stay open? Who's he kidding? The American people are on our side. Americans deserve a government that works as hard as they do, one that puts their needs first and doggedly works to make life better for them. It's time to stop these parties and celebrations and negotiate with Democrats to end the Trump shutdown, address the health care crisis that they created. Patty.
Well, President Trump could not be less focused on reopening the government or preventing premiums from exploding. But he is very focused on bailing out Argentina and buying private jets for Secretary Noem and bulldozing the White House so he can build a fancy new ballroom, even in the middle of a shutdown. Meanwhile, Republican leaders are sticking their heads in the sand and doing nothing beyond the same failed partisan vote over and over and over again. In a shock to no one, Republicans' decision to ignore reality has done nothing to change it. While House Republicans can't even be bothered to come back and do their jobs for over a month now, healthcare premiums are right now going through the roof. And you don't have to take my word for it. Window shopping started in my state of Washington today, and it is going to start in many other states.
Alrighty, if you are just joining us, we have been listening in, hearing from both House and Senate Democrats provide the latest on the government shutdown, which again is now on day 21. That started back October 1st. A lot of just the same thing we've been hearing the last several weeks. It's a blame game from both sides of this. Republicans continue to blame Democrats. Democrats continue to blame Republicans. We do know a lot of Republican lawmakers were actually meeting with President Trump at the White House today. I don't see any of them on the feeds providing comments, but if that pops up in the next hour, we will also bring that to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But otherwise, I think it's time to head outside here in the Milwaukee area where you're seeing it's just not that pretty today. We've got some rain, some dark clouds. It's looking a little doomy and a little gloomy this Tuesday afternoon. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we will have your forecast coming up for you in just 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley with you here at about 1:50, so we're getting pretty close to that 2 p.m. hour. Of course, at 2:30, Kim Murphy's taking over here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Because if you missed it a few weeks ago, we expanded Wisconsin Live Desk. We're now on for 3 hours, Monday through Friday. It's a whole lot of fun. Not so fun. The weather outside. It's looking a little doomy, a little gloomy this Tuesday afternoon, and I'm seeing a lot of green behind you, Steph.
Yes, number one, it's freezing in this building, and number two...
No, not in this closet, Stephanie. I'm over
okay.
here sweating, so if you're cold, come join me.
Maybe we should switch. I'll go by you for like 10 minutes to warm up, and you can defrost.
Perfect.
Well, no, just warm up, I should say, here in the weather office. But yes, it is absolutely fall-like outside right now. We've seen some spotty showers, most of it being light, but they've already been on and off here for about the last hour to 2 hours, and there's plenty more to go. So for the rest of this afternoon and evening, and even overnight, we will likely have some of these scattered light rain showers in the area. Extensive cloud cover, really keeping temperatures down. Most spots are back to 40s, which is where we were earlier this morning. So here's this very slow moving low pressure system. This is all moisture on the back side of this low pressure system, but because it is, number one, a very large system and slow moving, it's still going to take some time to get it out east. So we are still dealing with some of these showers pretty much statewide. Notice, though, that the cloud deck with this system goes as far west into eastern parts of the Dakotas. So we're still going to be dealing with this today as well as tomorrow. I think more so cloud cover tomorrow, but could still see a few light rain showers, especially near Lake Michigan throughout the afternoon and evening. Now, it's also very windy out towards the west with this low pressure system. So you can see here, these are actually wind advisories, so we're not included in them here locally. We're also still seeing very windy conditions today, but I think it's going to be just a step up tomorrow as we get just on the far western edge of this storm system. So all of these spots out west that have wind advisories, that's where wind gusts are over 40 miles per hour, or at least getting close to that. You can see Des Moines, Iowa with a current wind gust of 44 miles per hour. Here in Milwaukee and much of southern Wisconsin, our gusts are between 25 and about 35 miles per hour, which is still very strong. And that's been the trend the past couple of days, just how windy it's been. Now, quick check of temperatures. It's chilly out there. It's chilly in the building. It's chilly outside. We've got 40s, we've got 50s, and temperatures won't really move too much in the next couple of hours because of the cloud cover and because of the rain. In fact, we'll likely start to drop here and eventually falling through the 40s down to about 40 as we wake up tomorrow morning. Now, I know our focus is on the rain right now, but when it comes to temperatures, we are really going to start watching our lows in the next couple of nights. Now, when it comes to our high temperature trend, we've got an even cooler day ahead Wednesday, and Thursday is still going to be quite chilly, but towards the weekend, I do think we see some upper 50s and low 60s to return to our area. Let's talk low temperatures real quick, though. So these are the temperatures we wake up to in the morning. Look at Thursday morning and look at Friday morning. As our skies clear behind this storm system, temperatures are really going to plummet. So I think we are absolutely looking at our first frost potential in the next couple of mornings. So Thursday morning, lakeshore communities will likely miss out on that, but everybody inland will likely see some frost. But even lakeshore communities will see frost then Friday morning, more than likely. And inland spots Friday morning could actually see some upper 20s to around 30, meaning freeze is a possibility. We're talking a killing freeze in the upper 20s. So even though we're going to see those temperatures climbing towards the weekend, we have a couple of chilly days to still get through. So in the near term, it's the rain today, slight chance for a few showers Wednesday, and then past that, we got to watch Thursday and Friday morning. We got to cover our mums or bring them inside if we want them to hang around a little bit longer. But at least an upside to this is that we've got 60s ahead for trick-or-treaters this weekend, Haley. So a lot to look forward to despite some of the true chilly fall air on the way.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the wake-up temperature of 33 Friday, but I am looking forward to the weekend. I'm curious, too, with the rain that we're getting today, do we need it? How has our rain levels been looking? Or have we gotten a lot? What is that looking like?
We did need it. We were running below average for the month, but Saturday, maybe you remember Saturday night, we actually had some thunderstorms roll through, and that brought in really beneficial rainfall. So I think we're pretty much back on track now. A lot of spots picked up over an inch of rain. So we're doing pretty well now that we're nearing the end of October. But a lot of what we have moving through right now is so light anyways. It's not going to amount to a ton. So we'll, of course, take what we can get. I'm sure the farmers are very happy about it, even though it's the end of the growing season and they're clearing things up and harvesting. But the, again, type of rain we have right now, we'll take. It's not going to do any damage. It's not going to push us too far above the surplus. But we were in some slight drought conditions, I should say. So this will be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned that the warmer temperatures will be nice for anybody doing some early trick-or-treating this weekend. We had Lisa on the Wisconsin Live Desk yesterday, and we found out her favorite candy. So I've got to learn, what is your favorite candy?
Oh, okay. So I have a sweet tooth, so I do not discriminate against candy.
Love that.
I would have to say probably a Twix bar.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, classic. Oh, I don't stray from the classics.
I feel like that's good. I feel like a Twix bar exists in a lot of candy bowls. So that's got to be nice. It's like an easy one to find for you.
Yeah, except my own because I eat them all.
Yeah.
So you can't find any at my house.
I understand this. See, at least you have, children that you can blame. Like, oh, that's who ate that candy. When you live by yourself, what am I supposed to do? Blame my dog? Like, no, I clearly ate that all.
You know what? Whatever makes you happy. Just a sweet every once in a while is a good thing.
That's so true. You know what they say, an apple a day, but it could also be a Twix a day.
Exactly.
Keeps the doctor away in some way. That makes sense. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Steph. We appreciate a look at the forecast there.
Yeah, no problem.
She did mention it's a little bit windy out there, which I always like to call these types of days a ponytail and pants day, where you don't want to worry about, your dress or your skirt flying up and your hair can just get in your face. So just throw it in a ponytail. I think that's always a good option when you're looking at a forecast like we have today. But I don't mind the fall-like temperatures. The 33 we're waking up to on Friday, that's a little concerning for me. But just the fall crisp air is actually kind of my favorite type of weather out there. Well, hey, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And when we get back, I think it's time for a little question of the day, which if you were watching yesterday on Wisconsin Live Desk, we talked about how today is Back to the Future Day and how it was also National Apple Day. And we said we were going to pick one of those for question of the day. Spoiler alert, we're doing them both. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk as we inch closer to that 2 p.m. time on the clock. We're just 1 minute away, but it's also really my favorite part of the day, which is when I make my producer Delaney join me here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Happy Tuesday, Delaney.
Hey, Haley. Happy Tuesday.
Delaney's so funny. You just make me laugh. Question of the day time.
Let's do it.
Okay, so it is Back to the Future Day. Have you seen this movie? And if you have, what's your favorite character?
I saw the movie a long time ago. I was in elementary school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I like Doc. I think he's my favorite.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I've also seen Back to the Future. I think I have to give it to Marty McFly. I think Michael J. Fox wearing that puffer vest.
Oh, yeah.
It's a look. It's so good. Yeah, my first time watching Back to the Future was actually after I graduated college.
Really?
I had never seen it before, and in college I had a sports internship, and I would work like pretty closely with all these like group of guys, and they always made fun of me because I didn't know their movies, and they didn't know mine. And so me and my friend Francisco made a list of 5 movies each that the other had to watch. And so he had to watch like Twilight, and I had to watch Back to the Future. And I actually really enjoyed it. And so when I went to New York a few years ago and Back to the Future was still on Broadway, I went and saw it, and my mind was blown by the special effects in that musical.
I bet it was so good.
Yeah, 10
I'm
out of 10
jealous.
recommend.
Yeah.
It's touring right now, so I'm curious if it will ever make its way to Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to look into that.
But you know, I used to live in Greenville before I came here. This is an embarrassing story. The musical came to Greenville, and I was doing like an interview with the actor who plays Doc, and I talked about how my photographer's name was Scott, which is perfect because in the movie they're always saying, "Great Scott." And then we went and filmed this thing, and I started off the whole package, or like story, and I went, "Great Clark." I don't know like what happened in my brain, but everyone looked at me so confusing. I didn't even notice it, Delaney, until I went back and watched the package, and I go, why did I say Clark? So anyway,
It happens.
Yeah, but you know how like you relive things in your head? I'm still reliving.
That's one of those things that you're always thinking about.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. All right, you have prepared a few true or false questions for us. I'm going to pull those up right here. Okay, true or false? The original, Delaney, what is this?
Script. There's a typo.
For Back to the Future was rejected 40 times. Goodness, 40 times is a lot. I don't know if I would have the ability to keep going, but I'm going to say it's true.
This one is true. I don't think I could keep going. That's
40
a lot of times.
Like,
to
what
be
were they not
rejected.
happy about?
Doesn't say. I'll have to look into that.
I guess perseverance, because it paid off. People love this movie.
It's a great movie, but yeah.
That's a lot.
Very persistent.
Very persistent. Okay, next one. Back to the Future Day was first celebrated in 2015. Oh, by the way, I think today is Back to the Future Day because of the time on the clock. Like when they're traveling in the future, I think that's why that's today, October 21st. I'm going to say we've been celebrating it longer, so I'm going to go false.
This one is true. It was first in 2015 because this was the day that they traveled back to, October 21st, 2015.
No
So
way.
that was why they first celebrated it in 2015.
Wait, so it's the 10-year anniversary of Back to the Future Day?
It is. I think it is.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I thought that was going to be longer because the movie came out, what, in the 80s? I don't want to be wrong. Let's not guess. Let's not guess dates and get that wrong, Haley. Also, do you know what was interesting to me? You know, I grew up like loving Disney Channel original movies. So I watched Teen Beach Movie when it came out. And then years later, I watched Back to the Future. And I was like, oh, this is a Teen Beach Movie ripoff. And then I was like, well.
Other way around.
Other way around.
But yeah.
It's the same exact story.
Yeah.
So then I was also kind of almost mad at myself because I already knew what was going to happen with Back to the Future.
Oh.
But
yeah. I didn't really think about it that way until you brought it up. But yeah.
Yeah, no,
they're
it's
like opposite.
It's the exact same thing. I guess instead of going back to the future, or back in time, they're going into a movie. but otherwise it's the same thing.
Yeah, same idea.
Which we also begged the question in the newsroom earlier today, that if you could go back in the past, the way Marty McFly does, what would you want to like? What would you like in the past to bring to the future?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I feel like some of the fashion.
The fashion. Delaney does have really good fashion sense. I believe that.
Oh, thank you.
You like the mom jeans?
I do.
For sure. I joked that I would want like the price tags of things, like what homes used to cost. I'll gladly take today. But honestly, I think if I could go back in time, I would do it just to experience certain like things for the first time again.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because like there's just something about like I remember the first time I ever got to ride like Rise of the Resistance at Disney, and it blew my mind. And I'm like, oh, I would love to go back to that.
That would be fun to relive those moments.
Yeah, because you can't do that once you know what to expect.
That's a good idea.
So I'd probably go with that one. Okay, next one. It's also National Apple Day. Have you gone apple picking this season?
I have not, and I'm kind of sad about it. Normally I've gone at this point.
I know, because it's really the end. It's crazy because the summer weather lasted so long that like I kept putting off doing the fall things. And then when it was finally fall temperatures, gosh, like a week ago, my friend and I went to the apple orchard, out of apples to pick.
Were they really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, yes, I went apple picking this year, but no, I didn't pick apples. Like
That's
I went all the way
bummer.
there, but
Yeah, but there was none left.
didn't get apples. Yeah. But you've also prepared a true or false question for this one. Let's pull it up. True or false? Oh, the Granny Smith apple originated in Australia. I have no idea. I mean, when I think of Australia, I don't think apples. I think koalas. So what do we think? This is where like I get in my head, Delaney, because I popped Delaney up. I don't know if she knows that I did. I get in my head because I think you've already done 2 trues, so this would make sense for it to be false. But also sometimes you just always go true. The Granny Smith apple. Smith is so not Australian. I'm going to go false.
This one is true. It was named after Maria Ann Smith, and this specific green apple originated in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where in Australia, do we know?
I'll look into that.
Delaney goes, don't ask follow-up questions, Haley. Don't do that to me. All right, that is interesting. I did not know Granny Smith's. I feel like it should be like a Granny Smythe. I don't know. I
Right?
guess that's British. I can't do Australian
Neither
accents.
can I.
I can just do like, nope, I'm not even going to embarrass myself because Wisconsin Live Desk lives on YouTube, so we will not be embarrassing ourselves today. But we do want to know what your favorite activity for fall is. Maybe it's apple picking. Clearly not for the people who are voting so far because it's 0%. But your options, which if you scan that QR code there on the screen or go to fox6now.com/poll, you can answer. We've got apple picking, go to a pumpkin patch, visit a haunted house, or check out the fall colors. Delaney, what is your favorite activity for fall? Also, why it says for a fall. Off this list.
I'm between going to the pumpkin patch or a haunted house. What about you?
Okay, absolutely not the haunted house. I do not have the heart for that. Oh my gosh, I hate scary things and no, but I don't know that I want to go to the, when we say pumpkin patch, are you going and picking out a pumpkin or is that the same thing as a corn maze?
Oh, I was thinking like you're going and picking out a pumpkin, but sometimes they have all of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can apple pick, you can get your pumpkin, you can do a hayride or a corn maze.
Can you tell I just voted because the thing changed on the screen? I did decide to go and check out the fall colors because I don't want to go pick out a pumpkin. I just wanted to do that. I love a good corn maze though.
Yeah, I get that.
But fall colors are also, I mean, I can happily sit and look at the colors for genuinely an hour. So I think that's just a good one when you have good weather for it.
When the weather's great, that's a really fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. Delaney, while you're here, should we talk about what we did last night?
Yeah.
Okay, so Delaney and I went to an early screening of Regretting You, which is the new Colleen Hoover book turned into a movie. It comes out Thursday, Friday, later this week.
Yeah, the 24th.
Friday. And what were your thoughts? You can be honest. The Wisconsin Live Desk is a safe space.
I thought it was cute, but I'm not sure I would have went to go see it in theaters. I would have waited until it came out.
Yeah. I think that
streaming.
I think it's good. I think there's moments that you're certainly laughing at. But yeah, I said it's probably a movie for me that I would wait for the streaming service and then I would just watch it once it gets there. If you're a Colleen Hoover fan or you've read the book, I would say go. I think it's always nice. But yeah, there's definitely funny moments. But my biggest thing is just it revolves around, I guess, essentially two couples, a younger and an older couple. I just had no reason to root for I wasn't invested in the younger couple's relationship. And if
No,
you're not
I agree with
if you're
that.
not rooting for them, you just don't feel. I wasn't rooting against them. I guess I just didn't care. If they ended up together, great. If they didn't, okay.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine either way.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good, mindless watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you read any Colleen Hoover books?
I have not.
I didn't
I know.
this.
I feel like everyone was reading them a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't read any yet, though.
I've read a couple. What I like about Colleen Hoover books is that they're easy reads, and it's really easy to find somebody else who's usually read that one, so it's nice to have a quick discussion.
Oh, yeah.
I read It Ends With Us, which was also turned into a movie, which ended up becoming a whole lawsuit battle between the stars, which is interesting. I also read the sequel, It Starts With Us. I actually very much recommend both of those books. I think there's some very important messages that are built into them. I also have read Verity, which is becoming a movie with, I think, Anne Hathaway and Dakota Johnson. That one would be perfect to read right now. Creepy. That one was there's some scary.
Is it really?
There's some scary, creepy things in that one. And then I was going to say my favorite Colleen Hoover book, but that's a lie because I think it's probably It Ends With Us. I read November 9th, which is not a good one. I'm going to bring you one of them. Which one would you like to read?
Ooh. Maybe It Ends With Us or Verity. I've heard good things about both of those.
Okay, I'll bring you both.
Okay, thank you.
You have to bring them back. That's my rule.
I will.
With the Haley Library.
I'll bring them back. Don't worry.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we're going to monitor some things on the feeds. We'll take you back out there. Also, tomorrow's an exciting day for the basketball fans, Delaney.
I know the Bucks home opener.
Bucks.
And you're going to be down there.
I will. I'm going to be, actually, right here at I almost just said it wrong, Delaney. Fiserv Forum. Our digital manager, Carrie, said that I was saying it with a Z. So now I'm really trying hard to make that S sound, Fiserv Forum. Tomorrow morning, I'll be there for Wake Up starting actually at 5 a.m. So we'll be on the court. They're going to have some of the dancers there, some of the trick shot players there. The mascot's going to be there. We're going to get you all ready for the Bucks season because honestly, I feel like the division, it's really anyone's game, anyone's chance to win. So I'm also just really excited because as you guys know, love baseball, and it's painful for me to not root for your team, but I am fully prepared to become a Bucks fan. I can give you guys that. I am from Chicago. I love the Cubs, but I have no loyalty to the Bulls, so I am fully prepared. This is what I can give you guys. We're going to be on the same team. We're going to root for the Bucks together, and we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. But as I said, we need to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're actually going to head out to Atlanta. This just popped up here on the feeds. This is a big national story. You might have heard a Georgia man yesterday brought a rifle to the Atlanta airport after threatening to open fire on a terminal. Thankfully, police were able to avoid any sort of a possible mass shooting, specifically because of that man's family who called and alerted police to what their family member was threatening to do. So we are being told that they are providing an update on that suspect, and we're going to listen in here for a little bit on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And many other individuals was being directed by Sergeant Jones. And then we played for you the body-worn camera of them interacting with him. And again, thank you, Officer Banks, I appreciate you. Sergeant Jones, I appreciate you. The tragedies that we've seen play out across our nation didn't happen here yesterday. And this is a much different, we would have met yesterday and today as a group one way or the other. We would have met as media and the law enforcement through a tragedy, or we would have met as media and law enforcement speaking about how the system works, where we ask Americans, if you see something, say something. And we ask your police officers to stand in danger for each of us every day. And so yesterday is what played out exactly we'd like it to be. Shadi, do you want me to walk through what's on the screen, or what's the flow for today? Okay. So obviously, and please jump in, Officer Banks, and point you like, Major Wilson or Sergeant Jones. This is video view from Domestic South. We see Mr. Cagle approaching in the blue shirt. Remember this, we have not yet received the telephone call from Cartersville. So that has not yet been received at the time that he has entered the area. We surmise that he's scouting the area. He's going to continue on, and I'm not sure, Director Spikes, what other video views we have, but we do know that he proceeds to the TSA screening area where travelers queue up to be screened and proceed to their boarding gates. That's where he seemed to have most of his attention that he was focusing on. And as Jonathan, we want to go to the next screen? Again, we're going back here to the timeline of when it was located in 9:40. We received the alert. We started pushing this information out the airport. Then Sergeant Jones, I'm actually going to turn it over to you because at this point you were on the phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you kind of tell us what you were passing out to the team. Then Officer Banks, if you'll kind of walk through how you knew you had located the individual.
Yes, sir. Okay, so when I received the call from Cartersville Police Department, I did realize the urgency of trying to get all of the information out as soon as I could. So at first one of the family members did say my family member is en route to the airport to shoot the airport up, and it was the lookout given of the vehicle first of all. And so I gave out a lookout on the vehicle, and then needing additional information, a description of the guy, asked if they could send over a picture of him, which they sent it over immediately, and I began to pass it out amongst our, the way we passed the information out. And I gave that out, and then I went on to ask what was he wearing, and they told me he was wearing a blue polo. And I asked, was it a long sleeve polo or a short sleeve polo? And they were able to let us know that, again, it was a short sleeve polo. I gave out all of that information. I was just trying to give it out in real time as I was getting it so the officers would know, and everyone who had their radio on would have their head on a swivel, and they would be actively looking for this guy.
Yeah, Officer Banks, you want to tell us what's happening here and right before this moment with your encounter?
Okay, so after I received the information from my sergeant, that's when I just put the description, I put it together. So we already had that he was about 350 pounds. He was a big guy. So I started to canvass the airport. Once I canvassed the airport, once the description came over of the shirt that he was wearing, the blue polo striped shirt, that's when I was able to identify him immediately. As I was walking towards identifying him, that's when I bumped into my partner, Officer Gibson, and I confirmed that that was the guy, that's the description, he fits it. And that's when I went on ahead to apprehend the suspect.
Thank you very much. Then we would obviously transport him to our precinct. At this point, we're also alerting our federal partners. We were alerting the FBI, we were alerting the TSA, and all those federal agencies that we work closely with to be able to keep the airport safe. He would proceed to be charged. We would charge him eventually after consulting with the district attorney. He was charged with terrorist threats. Yes, sir. Certainly. And then going over the charges that we charged yesterday, I think what's currently before the Clayton County courts now are 3 of the 4, which is terroristic threats, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Mr. Cagle was a convicted felon. He could not legally possess the weapon, and so the FBI is working to determine where he was able to obtain that weapon. And it's my understanding, Major Wilson, that as of this morning, federal charges are also being applied, right?
That's correct, sir. That's correct.
And I think he's being transferred to the custody of the federal authorities.
At this time, yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is transpiring today.
So at this time, Chief, we're moving to what type of training our officers receive?
Yeah, the training of the police department is not just for the airport. We protect 245 unique neighborhoods in the city. We also protect the world's busiest airport, the world's most efficient airport, and I would say the world's safest airport. Our officers receive training for every type of emergency that we could be called to respond to, or that you, as a member of the media, could be called to cover, from a baby not breathing to an active shooter, and everything in between. The airport does train for active shooter situations. We do train for terror attacks against that facility. We also have a special team, our airport special response team, that is specifically designed, equipped, and trains frequently to counter the type of attack that was, I believe, being plotted yesterday. Many of those resources you each can see when you travel. Some of them you can't see. We don't put everything in public view that we have in place to protect the airport. But be it bombs, be it guns, be it a stabbing attack, be it a child not breathing, whatever the emergency is, these women, these men of the Atlanta Police Department prepare for it each and every day. And that infrastructure is in place Friday through Saturday, 24 hours a day. We're going to make sure if we have the responsibility to protect any neighborhood of the city, we're going to be ready. And if we have the responsibility to protect the airport, we're going to be ready. And I do want to thank our mayor for the last 4 years, who's been investing heavily in our organization, that we can grow it back to its authorized strength, keep the officers that we hire, bring out the organization, train them well, and give them the tools they need to be able to counter whatever threat we need to do. So, again, ladies, I appreciate you for your work yesterday.
At this time, we will open up for questions. I'm going to start with Kate, and we will go all the way around, then we'll come back. I'll see you all in the back row as well. If you know that you don't want to ask a question, I see you as well. If you don't want to ask a question, just pass out to the next person, yield that time. So, Kate, we'll start with you.
My main question was how we got the gun, but it sounds like y'all don't know that yet.
Don't know that yet, right? Our federal partners are helping us determine that.
Okay, and knowing what happened yesterday, knowing how a tragedy was averted, as a police officer, how does that feel on a personal level? This is very professional, but just as a person, how does it feel to know that you can stop this?
It feels amazing. I think as a police level, we don't really sit in the moment and realize, the change that we made or what we prevented as far as the lives that we save. But I think after the adrenaline went down and after everything calmed down, I realized I know why I'm a police officer. I know why I'm here, and I serve at Atlanta Police Department. I'm here to, serve and protect. I'm here to, give protection to the airport and make sure that everyone's safe in their travel. And that's a big deal for me. That's a big deal for me.
Oh, it was great. I feel amazing. I'm in my last 6 months of my 30 years, and to be sitting here now, with you all and the chief and talking about.
All right, if you are just joining us, we've been listening in here out of Atlanta, where police were kind of updating about what happened yesterday, how they were able to respond so quickly, and again, ultimately avoid what potentially could have become a mass shooting at the airport after a Georgia man did come to the terminal with a rifle. Again, police have a huge amount of praise going out to that suspect's family, who did call the police and alert them to what their family member had threatened to do, which again, all of the action between the family and law enforcement did potentially save countless lives yesterday at the Atlanta airport with that situation. Well, hey, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and when we come back, we've got a little bit more Bucks coverage for you as we get ready for basketball season, which I was practicing my dribble, and our assistant news director, Sarah, was making fun of me for how I do that. So I guess I'll work on maybe needs to have more. She was like, it's so funny that we go. Anyway, we'll talk basketball coming up 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Just got a few minutes left with you before Kim Murphy takes over here at 2:30, and it is the Wisconsin Live Desk, so I thought we should talk Wisconsin sports. I know Delaney and I were already teasing this a little bit, but of course taking a live look there at Pfizer Forum because the Bucks have their season opener at home tomorrow against the Washington Wizards. That game will be at 7 p.m., but really the action starts early during Wake Up tomorrow or on Fox Local. I'll be live at Pfizer starting at 5 a.m., bright and early, getting you all sorts of basketball coverage in there. Delaney, are you a Bucks fan?
I am.
Yeah? You have a Giannis shirt, I bet.
I do.
Knew it.
I had to think about it, but yeah, I do.
I knew it. I do love Giannis. Like, I don't think you need to be from Milwaukee. I don't think you even need to be a Bucks fan to love Giannis.
Right?
He's just the best.
He's a great guy.
He is.
Very likable.
Also really likable is the new food items that are going to be available at Pfizer for this season. Take a look at the new Milwaukee Bucks menu items. Okay, so we've got King's Hawaiian pretzel bites. Delaney, this sounds so good.
Those sound so good.
Should we take a Wisconsin Live Desk field trip to a Bucks game just to get those?
We'll have to.
I can already see the photo of us.
I want to try those and the loaded fries.
Yeah, okay, let's keep
really
going.
good.
Flower Child Pizza, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, Johnsonville Jumbo Brats, and the Mecca Burger Bar loaded fries. Yeah, that's good. Although I wish it wasn't Burger Bar because that probably has burger meat in it. I don't like burgers.
Oh, yeah.
So you can have that all to yourself. I'll get a Nathan's Famous Hot Dog, and then we'll split the King's Hawaiian pretzel bites.
Perfect.
Which we did realize, we forgot to tell you guys our favorite things about the movie yesterday regarding new screening. One, no previews. Because it was an early screening, like it started at 7 p.m.
It was so nice.
So nice. I don't think we need previews. And two, Delaney,
we got ices.
they
were so good.
Ices, and I would argue the best icy of my life. We combined the red with the blue. That's the move.
It was.
Although we
They
did
were
laugh
really
because
good.
originally they gave us a huge cup for the ices, and we were like, what? And then they took it back and got us a smaller one, and in the end, we ended up getting a refill. So we
yeah.
basically got the giant cup of icy.
We did, but we didn't drink it all in one sitting, so that's okay.
No, we drank it in two
sittings.
So right, Delaney. All right, well, it's been a blast getting to hang out with you for the last hour. Of course, lots going on here in Wisconsin and in D.C., which is actually what I'm going to leave up for you as Kim Murphy takes up for this last hour here. She'll get you through to 3:30. This is the Senate Caucus on International Narcotics Control. They are having a hearing today, so let's get the sound up for you. And when you get back, it'll be Kim Murphy. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Deny that it's a very low percentage of passenger vehicles that actually get fully looked at. As a matter of fact, under the Trump administration, Biden administration, it's been clear that most of the fentanyl coming into the United States on the southern borders through passenger vehicles, predominantly driven by young women that are Americans. That means that this system that we've got isn't working. There's bad things coming into the United States. I don't need to get on this now. I just think there's something that we can all work on to require 100% screening. We do it at the airports. There's no reason that we can't use the brightest and best in the world, namely in America, to come up with a system where we don't slow down commerce, but that we move to a heightened security status, again, inbound and outbound traffic in the country. I mean, we can chat about this later, but I think there's something that we might be able to do in that space. My questions in this area, Mr. Billingsley, during your time as Treasury Assistant Secretary for Terrorist Financing, are you aware of anyone that was charged for laundering money for cartels or terrorists?
Yes.
Are you aware of any of those people charged or convicted?
I don't know if I followed through on the ultimate conviction, but there were a lot of charges.
Appreciate that. I'll follow up on that as well. Dr. Levitt, same question to you. Are you aware of anyone charged with money laundering for cartels or terrorists during the time that you had various responsibilities? And same question, were any of those charged convicted that you're aware of?
Yeah, thanks for the question. There have been many indictments. I don't know the numbers of convictions.
Mr. Clifford, you had 25 years looking into bad people doing bad stuff. Some of it included money laundering. Are you familiar of any of the cases that you investigated? Were any of those people charged, and of those people charged, were they convicted for money laundering with cartels and terrorist organizations?
Certainly a case we had in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we had a Hezbollah cell that we penetrated and dismantled. The charges were RICO, the charges were material support to terrorism, money laundering, insurance fraud, bank fraud. All were convicted or all pled guilty. This was Hezbollah. I'm unaware of any cartel nexus at that time, sir, but they were convicted.
I appreciate it. The only reason I asked that question, Mr. Chairman, is the more that I look into this, it's hard for me to find more convictions when there's charges, because there's people doing great work, like what Mr. Clifford is doing. And every agent that I've spoken to in this space, they do important work. I just don't see people going to jail. And the problem that I see here is as long as a bad person can make a buck doing something bad, I see them as they're going to keep doing it. And until these penalties are not just a percentage of profit, but if you get caught laundering $1 billion, the penalty should be $2 billion. We're going to take the $1 billion that you laundered and we're going to slap you with double your fine so that way it hurts you. And you should go to jail.
Senator, could I, without getting too technical here, one of the things I observed at the Treasury Department was that often they would get charged with money laundering, but also some other offense like weapons trafficking, child trafficking, narcotics trafficking, and the prosecution proving the money laundering case is a heck of a lot harder sometimes than proving the possession of drugs, the possession of guns. And so a lot of the convictions you see are for those other offenses, not necessarily for the money laundering, even though the money laundering was perhaps the most important aspect of the whole case.
I appreciate that, Mr. Billingsley. Look, I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Chairman. I grew up on a small farm, so, you know, forgive me for that. I'm curious, you know, how Mr. Chairman, might be able to find the recommendations, the proposals, so that it's not so hard to go after someone that that's working in a C-suite that may or may not have knowledge, because you have to prove that they've got knowledge, to allow someone to do this bad stuff. We're either going to allow it in America or we're not going to allow it. And we all have constituents that are dying every day. And so I'm certainly hopeful that in this area, whatever that think tank is, whatever that group is, we've got a group of experts right here. Who are those people that can tell us? And I'm leaning a little bit more toward those agents. No offense to my friends that have done good work for us going after bad people. But what is it that's in these cases, in these investigations, that doesn't rise to those people getting put away? So I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. I value my assignment on this responsibility. I look forward to working with my colleagues so we can keep more people safe. And thank you all for your service as well.
Thank you. So we'll do another round.
And welcome to the third hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Kim Murphy. It feels like it's been forever since we've been together, at least from this location. We've been in the studio for a week or so, cheering on the Brewers. That wasn't to be, but it was a good run while it lasted. You're listening to the Senate hearing on international narcotics control. A little bit of that happening. We're also going to give you a little bit of a look of what's happening outside. Yeah, it started off so nice this morning, and then suddenly everything just kind of clouded up, and we are left with this kind of afternoon. So if you are headed anywhere this afternoon, give yourself a little bit of time. It doesn't take a lot of precipitation for it to become a problem, especially as we enter the evening commute. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're going to take a break, and after that, we're going to check in with the Milwaukee Licensing Committee, City of Milwaukee, listening to some testimony about the Elements Bar, which has been the scene of several investigations, one of them including a homicide. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. This is your Tuesday afternoon. Let's take a closer look. This is going to be the situation throughout the afternoon commute. 36% of the area will have some rain through 5 p.m. Temperatures in the 40s, so just not the greatest looking of days, but it is kind of getting us ready for Halloween, which, can you believe, communities began their trick-or-treating this weekend. So there is that. We want to get you back to what is happening in the city of Milwaukee. There is a licensing committee hearing on the bar Elements. Elements has been the scene of several crimes, homicides, I should say, and Milwaukee Police want it shut down. This is a bar that is on Water Street, and now the license, the Class B Tavern license, is up for renewal. And let's listen in to a little bit of what is going on.
Public seal, and your objection, again, it amounts to whether or not there was, I guess, some magic word said at the right time. This is a sworn complaint. I mean, if the objection is that this is not sworn, I mean, your burden to prove. Granted.
That's why I'm asking him the question.
Absolutely, and I think we have an asked and answered question.
No, we do not.
Okay, that's, again, your debate.
First of all, it's not perfunctory. It's required that a sworn complaint. I know that we had some testimony that
and there's case
some
law.
notaries are not.
I mean, there is
I know
case law
I
about
handled
this.
it. It's
Yeah.
the Court of Appeals that says it's got to be sworn to. Raise your right hand. I swear that this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if he didn't do that, this is not a sworn complaint, and that's why I wanted him to be the first witness.
And so,
because now it's.
Again, to give you a little bit of background on Elements Lounge, this is at 618 North Water Street. It's now under new ownership and was renamed ELMNT, but the location is the same. 246 times between 2016 to July of this year, Milwaukee police have been called to that location. That is according to Milwaukee police records. 2 people were killed, 3 people were wounded in a shooting in July of 2025. The club's liquor license was renewed, making it difficult to close the establishment immediately, but now we are listening to what is happening before the license committee, and there's a lot of pushback. Milwaukee police want to see this establishment closed.
And it's held by appellate procedure. I did the case. You just can't have somebody sign it and put a stamp on it. They have to do the oath, just like you did today.
So what is this here? An objection? So you're objecting right now, or where are we at right now?
I'm stating I'm making a statement right now on a record that I want this dismissed because he didn't swear to the complaint. That's why I wanted it to go first.
Madam Chair, he
That's all I'm
stated
saying.
he's sworn to this statement. At this point, I think note the objection and let's move on. He can litigate it however he wants going forward.
It does appear to be an objection. Which, as you know, customarily I note. I hear your objection, but I'm ready to move forward. I mean, we still have to hear your witnesses.
Yes, I just want to let you know I made the objection, and I asked for this to be dismissed because he didn't answer that he swore to this complaint, just like you did to all the witnesses that come up here before him.
No, you haven't given any. You haven't said the same thing to the others that came up before him. We swore everybody in,
You swore him in with the hand,
including Captain Teal.
But this is when he did the complaint. When he did the complaint, he had to swear to it, and he didn't. That's why I wanted it to go first. And it's a requirement. It's not something that's silly and everything else. And I'm sorry if you had somebody notarize something without you doing the oath, because that's not the way it goes. I'm a notary, so I also know that.
And you go and swear everybody.
I make everybody raise their hand and swear to it by oath or affirmation.
He swears all the time.
You noted my objections.
You're listening to the Milwaukee License Committee. The establishment, Element Lounge, is seeking a renewal of one of its licenses. Milwaukee police want this Water Street establishment shut down. Over the years, between 2016 and July of this year, there have been hundreds of calls for service to this. 5 people were shot in July. Outside of this bar, July 12th, it claimed the life of Kevin Lewis. And 52-year-old Antoine Tweezy Hogans, who was a well-known local rapper and club promoter. 3 other people were injured in this. Again, this is not the first shooting that has happened at this nightclub. There has also been some changes in ownership, but the problem remains that this establishment has been the location of robberies, of shootings, of fights, of calls about weapons. This is downtown. This is Alderman Bob Bauman's district. And he also says that he feels like his hands are tied because in April, the bar's liquor license was renewed. And so it was renewed for another 9 months. And so here we are at this hearing now, possibly hoping some for a different outcome. So let's listen in to some more of the testimony.
This complaint that was notarized.
Yes.
But the follow-up I have is, how did you do that?
Verbally.
There's a signature here.
Did you raise your right hand?
I can't remember. I was in the front lobby of my house.
Did the notary administer an oath or affirmation you prior to you signing it?
He asked me if I swore to it. I said, yes, I swear to it.
So he didn't say, did you swear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God?
I cannot remember him saying that.
That's my whole point.
And you're saying a notary does that every single time when you go and get something notarized?
They have to do it. If they don't do it, that's a big problem for them.
Wow, Attorney Bobbitt.
Okay, this is obviously not something that's going to wrap up quickly. The testimony has been going on for a good part of this afternoon. So let's switch gears now and let's take you to Stephanie Barrichello, who is in the weather office. Hey there, Steph.
Hi, Kim. A little cold outside right now.
It's a little cold and it's a little rainy. I started looking for a jacket that had a hood.
I know, and probably a little thicker of a jacket, right?
Yes.
I know I did that with my kids over the weekend. I broke out, I know this sounds so dramatic, but I broke out gloves. I actually broke out their little ear muffs because in the next couple of mornings, especially late in the week, temperatures are falling to low 30s in some spots. It's going to be a little chilly walking to school.
It's going to be a little chilly. And then I just realized also that trick or treat is coming up this weekend. So I know we're not even midweek, but I know parents and adults, they're starting to think towards the weekend and will this costume hold up?
And I think it will. Definitely still layer up, parents, for the kids, but temperatures are actually looking to improve quite a bit by Saturday and especially Sunday. In fact, Sunday, which is my trick-or-treat time for my kiddos, temperatures may actually reach low 60s. So we are moving in the right direction. We just got to get through some rain today, maybe a few sprinkles tomorrow, and then once this system is out of here late in the week, then we're going to see sunshine and warmer temperatures. Now, we've got some dry time here in Milwaukee. We've had some spotty showers over the last couple of hours, but we have a pretty broad area of rain towards the west that's going to continue to impact southern Wisconsin. So this is going to continue to move eastward here. I would say just plan on more of these light rain showers through the rest of the afternoon, rest of the evening, and even into the overnight. So our low pressure system is up towards the north. It's a very slow moving storm system. It's why we've been dealing with it, starting yesterday evening, today, as well as tomorrow, more so just in the way of cloud cover. But all this precip that we've got right now at least is on the back side of this low pressure system. So as this continues to move eastward here, it will eventually pull all this moisture with it. But I mentioned this earlier. Look at the cloud deck with this system. It's as far west as the eastern portions of the Dakotas right now. So even tomorrow, I think we're going to have some cloud cover, maybe a few sprinkles or light showers near Lake Michigan, and then finally shake this system by Thursday. Also with this storm system is the wind. So between the wind, the rain, the cloud cover, it of course is impacting temperatures, but the wind is actually a bit stronger out towards the west. Everybody in this tan color, that's a wind advisory. That's where the potential of gusts up to 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. And you can see places like Des Moines, Iowa, as well as Fargo up towards the north, do have gusts over 40 miles per hour. Even here locally, though, out ahead of that area, wind gusts have been over 30 miles per hour at times in Milwaukee. So even though we're not under an advisory here locally, we still have blustery wind, and that's going to transition into tomorrow too, maybe even some stronger wind for those of us here in southern Wisconsin tomorrow. So again, you see the full picture here. We have another day of maybe some rain, some wind tomorrow, and then Thursday everything gets better. Just a closer look at southeast Wisconsin. Look at Waukesha, a gust of 36 miles per hour, nearing 30 miles per hour for for Sheboygan as well as Milwaukee. And temperatures are struggling, though the airport is right around 50 degrees right now. Same with Kenosha. Everybody else, for the most part, the spots that have been dealing with a little bit more rain in the last hour or so, only in the 40s. Now, temperatures the rest of this evening will continue to fall through the 40s. We'll hold pretty steady. I do think through the overnight, some spots will drop to about 40, but the cloud cover may actually help us a little bit in the Milwaukee area. But the overall trend is still showing cooler than average temperatures tomorrow as well as Thursday and maybe even into Friday. So we're slowly climbing, but these numbers are still a little bit below where they should be for this time of year. In fact, Wednesday, tomorrow, I think there are going to be spots that fall short of 50. So tomorrow is going to be a little cooler than what we experienced today. But here's that weekend forecast. I think we're looking at upper 50s, low 60s. Temperatures are going to be so much nicer, and we should easily see sunshine both of those days. So looking really good. I do want to take a second to talk low temperatures. I know we just kind of referenced this earlier when I mentioned that I brought out everybody's coats and gloves for the coming days. These low temperatures, this is what we wake up to in the morning. I know a lot of times we focus on our afternoon high temperature, but the temperature that we wake up to in the morning is usually our seasonal low, or daily low, I should say. So tomorrow morning, we're still going to settle in the low 40s, but look at Friday, we're looking at mid 30s. That's in Milwaukee. Inland areas will be cooler. So inland areas starting Thursday morning have the chance for frost. This 33 on Friday, that's lakeside. So lakeshore communities will likely see some frost Friday morning, but inland spots could actually see their first freeze Friday morning, which means temperatures in the upper 20s. That means the end of the growing season, essentially, for some of those communities. Now, thankfully, it's relatively brief. We see those low temperatures into next week starting to climb, but those are a pair of some really chilly days. So if you're anything like me and you're trying to keep your mums alive still, starting tomorrow night, we will need to cover those or bring them inside, because with frost or freeze, that's what, unfortunately, causes our flowers to die, and we have to put them on the curb for someone else to pick them up. So a lot going on here in the next couple of days. Of course, in the near term, Kim, it's all about, the rain and the wind, but then we are going to transition into some of those cooler days before the nice weekend warm up.
Sounds good stuff. Are you guys going as a family, like a theme for the costumes, or are the girls doing their own thing?
Yeah, kind of. My husband and I, it's kind of embarrassing. We wear the same thing every single year, and that's a Harry Potter onesie. So we never fit with the family theme, but my oldest and my youngest are actually going to be a pair this Halloween. My oldest is going to be Bluey from the cutest Disney show ever. And then my youngest, my 2.5-year-old, is going to be Bingo, which is technically the younger sister. He's my son, but that doesn't matter. We all know that. And then my middle is always the different one. She's just so much fun. She's going to be a black cat. So
you know what? I love that. I mean, that is so awesome to see your kids develop their different personalities, and they're becoming little people. I've enjoyed watching them become little people, and so, yep, that describes your three, I think.
It all makes sense.
It really does. All right, Steph, thanks for stopping in. I know you are working on the 4 o'clock forecast, and I will see you a little bit later.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Thanks. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk, and yeah, the weather is not the best out there, but let's hop back into the testimony that is happening right now. The Milwaukee License Committee, we just heard a young man who was giving some testimony. Let's listen in.
Crowds, similar music?
Events differ.
What ways?
So, like, the music I play at a wedding might not be the music I play at a club.
All right, so what'd you do at Bodega earlier in the year?
In what sense? Music-wise?
What you performed at, well, what events did you, sorry, this is weird, but what events did you have at Bodega?
We have a monthly Friday residency at Bodega.
So what do you do there? Like, what's the type of music, the atmosphere?
They call it open format, so there's anywhere from hip-hop, pop, electronic, and Latin music.
So is that the same sort of thing you'd play at Element?
Yes.
All right. Is it the same sort of crowds that go between the two?
More or less. They're on the same block, yes.
All right. How about Bodega? Do they give you VIP treatment?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't.
So this is the situation. This is the Milwaukee License Committee. Milwaukee Police filed a complaint to revoke the license of Element Lounge because of the history of violent events, including in July there was a mass shooting. 5 people were shot. 2 of them died. So in September, Milwaukee police officially filed a complaint with the city to revoke the lounge's business license. The license committee will decide the matter and then will make a recommendation to the full Common Council. But again, this is an establishment on Water Street that has had a very long history of violence, including that shooting where 5 people were shot and 2 people died, including 52-year-old club promoter Antoine Tweezy Hogan. You can see it is a full house there at the license committee. So let's listen in a little bit more.
Ask a question. The other locations that you work at with similar crowds, play similar music, are you aware of those locations having similar problems with their patrons in the neighborhood?
I'm not.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions from the committee for this witness? Questions from the licensee for this witness?
No questions.
All right. Questions from Alderman Bauman for this witness?
No questions.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and testimony today. Thank you. All right. Alderman Bauman, thank you for your patience. We are in the 4th Aldermanic District. Wanted to give you the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the manner in which you conducted this hearing. They're always difficult. Too many lawyers in the room, one would argue, including myself, so I'll get right to the point. Since I was first elected in 2004, I have presided over 20 renewal hearings for this establishment. This is technically not a renewal hearing, but this is the 20th hearing we've had. And I just want to recite, and this is from my personal knowledge, their licensing history over the years. They were granted licenses and renewed in 2005, 2006, 2007, always in the month of November. In November of 2008, they received a 45-day suspension. In December of 2009, a 20-day suspension. In November of 2010, a 20-day suspension. 2011, warning letter. 2012, warning letter. 2013, 90-day suspension. 2014, 10-day suspension. 2015, warning letter. 2016, 15-day suspension. 2017, they were recommended for denial, but I believe the matter was sent back to committee because it didn't pass on the full council by 1 vote. I remember that very vividly. In 2019, warning letter. In 2020, warning letter. In 2021, 60-day suspension. So 13 out of their 20 license years resulted in some form of discipline. That record, coupled with the events we've heard of today by the new ownership, with who I met before this transaction was completed, and they promised me it was going to be a new format, it was going to be totally different, they were going to do away with promotions, they were not going to market the way the old establishment did, it was going to be a new page, a new dawn, a new world at Element. They thought they'd keep the name for brand recognition purposes, and it turns out it was just the same operation.
And that is Milwaukee Alderman Bob Bauman. His district includes Element Lounge, and you can see or you can hear the frustration after, again, 5 people were shot, 2 people died in July. That's just the latest violent event that has happened at this establishment that is on Water Street with a long list of problems. So we continue to follow that. Let me take you now to New York. And why New York? You say the White House is responding to reports that President Trump will commute Sean Diddy Combs' prison sentence. This is according to our partners at TMZ. Sean Combs was sentenced to 50 months in prison. The question is, will President Trump commute his sentence? Even before he was sentenced, there was, some fodder of whether or not the president would consider that. According to, quote, a high-ranking official with the White House, telling TMZ that the president is considering commuting Combs' sentence as early as this week. However, the White House Communications Office is pushing back on this story, saying that it is not true. Again, Sean Diddy Combs right now is spending 50 months in prison. He was convicted on 2 counts of violating the Mann Act, a federal law banning interstate prostitution. Prosecutors said that he arranged paid sexual encounters between his girlfriends and male sex workers, and each charge carried a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. He was hoping for much less in terms of the sentencing. That did not work out, but he got much less than what the prosecution wanted. They were talking about years, 11 years or so. But question is will President Trump commute Diddy's sentence? A high-ranking official with the White House told TMZ that the president is considering commuting Combs' sentence as early as this week. To commute a sentence is to reduce or lessen a sentence resulting from a criminal conviction. So the conviction would remain, but he possibly would get out of jail sooner. Thanks for joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're following all sorts of things. We're keeping our ear and eye on what is happening with the Milwaukee License Committee. So a lot of back and forth. The police department want that establishment closed, even though it's under new ownership. The problems have persisted. You've heard from the alderman from that district saying that he's heard the same song and dance over and over again for years now, and nothing has seemed to have changed, whether it's new ownership or changing in the way the club promotes some of the events. It seems that that has not done a thing for what is happening there. Let me give you a shot of your skyline downtown. It's that kind of day. I was on the phone with my mom this morning. It was like 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful fall day. The sun is out. And she's like, well, not for long. She was right. She listened to Stephanie Barakella's forecast, and she knew that rain was coming. So that is the situation. There is more coming up on the third hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I am Kim Murphy. The third hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. We can do so many things. If it's happening right now, we're going to bring it to you. How about this graphic I found? Fajardo. Where's Fajardo? Well, that's Puerto Rico. and they are in for a little rain from Tropical Storm Melissa. Right now they are 84 degrees, but again, they are preparing for some rain from Tropical Storm Melissa. What else can I tell you about Fajardo? Other than I would love to be there. Right now, 84 degrees. It feels like 87 degrees in the shade. Some of the other areas that are near Fajardo. Let's see. Fajardo is near the eastern tip of Puerto Rico, bordering the Caribbean Sea. It's a 45-minute drive from San Juan's Luis Munoz Marin International Airport. So that is what is happening in Puerto Rico as they prepare for some of the rain from a tropical storm. So that was pretty cool to show you what's happening right now. Guess what else is happening? It's the Bucks. They're getting ready for their home opener tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. They've got so many new things planned for fans, and hopefully a winning spirit when they start. Game is at 7 o'clock tomorrow at Pfizer. They are against the Washington Wizards. This is the season opener for the Bucks. There will be new food, new beverage, retail offerings for the 2025-2026. And it kicks off Total Wine Wednesdays, where fans who make qualifying purchases at Total Wine and More, you get 2 tickets to a future game. So that's pretty awesome. You have me at Total Wine. Am I right? Am I right about it? All right, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are following a couple of things, but thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. It's a great afternoon to do so. Not much happening outside. If you're watching us on your Fox Local app on your TV, that is great. We're tuned in on your smart TV. You don't have to do anything to find us. Just go to Fox Local. But if you haven't done it already, how about finding us or adding us to your phone, the Fox Local mobile app, right there. And you can watch us wherever you go, and you can see some of the big stories that we're following today, including a Lisbon crash. Children on a mini bike were injured. The woman is charged in that. That's one of the stories. Ex-Milwaukee City Attorney Tierman Spencer faces new charges. We're also following more on, you find things that happen on Real Milwaukee, on Wake Up in the Morning. So just anything that is happening, you can find it on the Fox Local app. And then at the top you can see that's me, that's us right here. You can take the Fox Local with you on your mobile app. So if you're, just scrolling, why not scroll and catch up on what's happening around the city? You're going to get some things that you're not going to get on the evening news right here on the local desk, including you're hearing the contentious testimony that's happening at the Milwaukee License Committee over the Element Lounge license. Milwaukee police want to shut this club down. Let's listen.
Each one of you, as well as one for the city attorney.
We have an objection. So it's up
No objection.
And I did give a copy to the city attorney prior to. So
But these aren't in our file yet? You're just submitting this now?
I'm submitting it now, yes.
Is that appropriate,
I object
Attorney
to it.
Gresham?
That's fine. So there's an objection from.
I object to it. We receive materials for licensing in advance so that we can all have time to review it before the hearing. Handing a stack of paperwork to the committee members right before, during the hearing is not appropriate. We haven't had time to review it, so I'm going to object that it's introduced as evidence.
I do have to say, Alderman Burgelis raises a good point. Attorneys Babbitt and Maiselman, were this on our, on the other side, you would of course object to getting an exhibit on the day of. It wasn't in the file. You didn't have ample time to review it. I mean,
the city did not object.
MPD did not object, but a committee member objected. I mean, this should be in our file.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Burgelis is very diligent. He reads these things very closely. He wants this ahead of time to review, and I think he raises a good point.
Madam Chair, would defense counsel prefer a delay and reschedule this for another day?
It's fine with me.
Madam Chair, taking it as evidence and having the attorneys walk us through what they're going to present as evidence is probably a good choice to proceed, as it, again, forecloses any objection to their due process hearing. So their objection would be that in not allowing their presentation
If you are
of their
just joining
case,
us, just to bring
they
you up
have
to
been
speed, this is the Milwaukee License Committee Elements Lounge. The Milwaukee Police Department wants to shut it down. They're saying there's just been too many violent things to happen, namely homicides. 5 people were shot in July, 2 people died in a shooting. In 2021, 24-year-old Diamond Arbery was shot and killed outside that same location. And the license has been suspended for 60 days. That was after Arbery's shooting. 2016, police responded to hundreds of calls at this address, including fights, thefts, armed robberies, and shots fired. The committee is listening now to the owner and the attorney representing the owner try to fight for the license to be renewed. After the 2025 shooting, the new owner said, you know, how can I be responsible for this? This was a random shooting. This happened outside of the club. I'm trying to change the reputation of the establishment. You know, we're promoting things differently, you know, so on and so forth. But again, it is not seem to be working, and the police say, you know, enough is enough. We're tired of being called to this place, and there is one thing that is in common, and it is the location. Nearby property owners have reported more than $100,000 in financial losses from tenants breaking their leases because of safety concerns and because of the noise. So this is the situation. Let's listen.
Very long, but instituting the 30-minute ordinance would not be equitable at this point?
Correct, yes. Let's maintain fairness in proceeding as we have. But again, you know, this is strongly, I guess, never mind, continue.
But I do appreciate the suggestion, Alderman Vergellis.
I don't have time to read it.
Ask him if it's a motion.
Can I get my copy?
Pass them down.
Let him give it a copy.
I just sent you the notarial requirements that Halberg's found, and it supports what we're doing.
I know. Yeah, go ahead. Well,
Yeah, this really could have been taken care of ahead of time. Attorneys Masterman and Babbitt. All right.
are you going to do a motion to?
All right, some motions and so on and so forth are continuing for the License Committee. Let's just dip in to see what is happening on the Senate floor. Let's listen in.
Enjoyed a close personal relationship. A relationship and tradition that Senator Welch and I are committed to upholding. Their teams benefited tremendously from their friendship as well. Kevin and I had the privilege of joining Senators Shelby and Leahy on many congressional delegation trips around the world, and I will forever cherish my time with Kevin as we learned a great deal from our bosses on those trips and in this chamber. His friendship meant the world to me and all who knew him, including Toni Marie Higgins, Chief of Staff to Senator John Boozman. She said this of Kevin, quote, "He was one of the best colleagues I have ever had the privilege of serving with in the Senate. Whether we were part of a congressional delegation or attending events in DC, he brought energy, joy, kindness to every single moment. His presence made every experience more meaningful and a lot more fun," end quote. And I couldn't agree more. He truly radiated light and kindness, and we were all better because of it. Although Kevin touched many lives, and some in this chamber, some outside, in Vermont, across the country, Kevin was first and foremost an integral part of Team Leahy. I know his decades of service meant the world to Senator Leahy and his wife, Marcelle, who had this to say about Kevin. Kevin McDonald was more than a senior advisor and a scheduler. He was like a member of our family, and our whole family felt that way. My thoughts and prayers are with all of those who loved Kevin. Brian, Tom, his nephews Declan and Griffin. While many members of Congress receive their day in the sun for their devotion to our great nation. Staffers can often be overlooked, and their tremendous contributions cannot be undervalued. This institution, state of Vermont, the country is better for the service of Kevin, and there are few more deserving to be recognized than him. So I am honored to stand here today on the Senate floor and remember his life and legacy. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
You've been listening. Kevin McDonald worked for Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont for several decades. He died unexpectedly after a fall this week, and you are just hearing he is being remembered on the Senate floor for his service to the country. Actually, he died unexpectedly on Friday, September 26th, as a result of injuries from a fall. But again, worked for Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont. He was a well-respected member of Senator Leahy's staff and also assumed the role of his political strategist, becoming even more valued to the senator, and just a tragic accident there. So that is what is happening on the Senate floor right now. Good afternoon. I'm Kim Murphy on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are almost to the end of our third hour. The time has really flown. Just want to take you back outside. The clouds are just, not looking the best out there, right? So somewhere over there it's raining. Maybe you are in that dark patch past downtown and getting some of that rain that is coming into the area. It's going to be a gloomy rest of the day, and we know that the sun, it's starting to set earlier and earlier. Let's look that up. Sun sets today at 5:59 p.m. So yeah, when does the time change? How about that? I remember daylight saving was always Halloween weekend when I was in college in Madison, and it was so much fun. You know, it was just fun. It meant fall and everything else. So when they moved it a week and later, that's kind of a bummer. So Sunday, November 2nd is when we fall back this year. So fall back, spring ahead. So we got the extra hour, you know, when it was a Halloween weekend, which was great. So it's also a reminder to check your smoke alarms. When we switch the clocks, great idea to check to make sure that your smoke detectors in your home are working, and replace batteries or smoke detectors if needed. Detectors now, a lot of them are the duo. They're the carbon monoxide detectors and the smoke detectors, and they're good for 10 years, and they actually have an expiration date. So when you take it down and you look at it, there's an expiration date, and they also have outfoxed us for a really good reason. The new ones, you can't take the battery out. It's screwed in there, because what was happening is that, you know, you burn something and the detector goes off, you, in a panic, take it down, you take the battery out, and the problem is so many times we don't put the battery back in, and that could mean a life. So the new detectors, you can't take the battery out, and they're good for 10 years, but you do need to just touch the button and, you know, the test beep to make sure that it is still functioning. We're going to take a break on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
It is day 21 of the government shutdown, still no action. It's happening. The government has been shut down since October 1st, when the two sides could not agree on funding beyond September 30th. So let's listen in to what is being said on the House Senate floor.
A Hate America rally? They actually said that repeatedly and proudly to the press. Do you think those kids hate America? Or those seniors? Do you think they hate America? Their constituents hate America? That is disgraceful. Republicans who spouted those lies should apologize. And let's not forget.
The senator there is talking about the No Kings rallies that happen all over the country over the weekend. There are 750,000 employees on unpaid leave right now, federal workers.
To peaceful protesters across this country with a video of himself wearing a crown, driving a fighter jet, and bombing peaceful protesters with human waste. Are you kidding me? No one over there says anything about this? That is shameful. Speaker Johnson said he thinks Trump's being an effective communicator. Really? What on earth is effective about the President of the United States dropping waste on American families and seniors and our cities? It was a vulgar, ugly, and fundamentally unstable display. It was, in many ways, a perfect mirror reflection of those peaceful protests, because President Trump's response, showing himself, donning a crown, soaring above the common people, and dropping waste on American cities and peaceful protesters, that is as fundamentally un-American as it gets. So when are Republicans going to apologize for smearing peaceful protesters? When are they going to apologize for saying this weekend was a Hate America rally? When are they going to apologize for all the rhetoric saying Democrats are terrorists? And while we're at it, tell us when they're going to criticize Trump's completely unhinged response. What is it going to take to tell President Trump he crossed a line? Millions of people can peacefully protest, and Republican leaders slander it for weeks as a Hate America rally, but not a squeak of criticism for the President of the United States fantasizing about bombing people with feces. Mr. President, Republicans may be determined to cover their ears when it comes to our families who are speaking out about this healthcare crisis. They may be determined to cover their eyes when it comes to Trump tweeting out unhinged, un-American AI slop. But Democrats are not going to let them cover up the truth. We are not going to let them ignore this healthcare crisis, and we are going to continue to speak out and lift up the stories of our families in their states and on ours. And we will, Mr. President, remain at the table, ready to work on real solutions to end this shutdown and address this healthcare crisis. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
The senator from Connecticut.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Americans are watching members of the military patrolling the streets of major cities in the United States of America. I never thought I would utter those words anywhere, let alone on the floor of the United States Senate. Members of the military in our neighborhoods, on our streets, patrolling under authority. What authority? That's the question. That authority has been challenged, and it will continue under challenge because the courts are continuing to decide whether Donald Trump has turned the National Guard into an illegal police force, in effect to serve his political ends and personal whims. But there is no question as to the facts that members of the military are in major cities, despite clear and consistent objections from governors, from mayors, from police chiefs, from community groups, from citizens across the United States, and yes, from members of the United States Senate. Today in D.C., California, Oregon, and Illinois, these National Guardsmen are not only patrolling the streets, they are aiding and supporting ICE crackdowns.
So you're listening to Democratic senators speak on the floor. This is day 21 in the government shutdown. Today, President Trump invited Senate Republicans to the White House, to the Rose Garden. They right now are refusing to give in, yield to the demands of the Democrats on health care funds. Now the fourth week of the government shutdown. The country, meanwhile, is feeling the financial hits. This is on track to becoming one of the longest in U.S. history shutdowns. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are going without pay. Head Start programs for preschoolers nationwide. They are uncertain about their funds, and economists are concerned about what is ahead. So that is where we are. Vice President J.D. Vance arriving in Israel today, joined with a special envoy, and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, trying to uphold the fragile U.S. brokered ceasefire in Gaza. Vance will meet with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And also happening in our nation's capital. This is the Capitol, not the White House, but the White House. There's some action going on there. The president has a construction project. Crews on Monday started tearing down part of the White House, the East Wing, to build a new ballroom that the president is talked about. His signature project, despite lacking approval for construction from the federal agency that oversees such projects. The president is going full steam ahead on that. So can't show you the White House, showing you the Capitol. Lots of things are happening there in our nation's capital. Let's see. Let's show you what's happening around here. It's a gloomy Tuesday. Sorry, folks. These are the breaks. It's October. It's par for the course, right? We do get some gloomy days here every now and again, so we won't complain because it was just 80 about a week ago, right? So that's not bad at all. It's going to remain that way, these showers throughout the afternoon, so prepare for that if you're headed out anytime soon. That is what you are in for. We want to bop back also into what is happening in Milwaukee, downtown. The License Committee is listening to the owners of Element. Their lawyer tried to argue why the bar should get a renewal of its license despite a history of violence that dates back to 2016. Let's listen.
Behind this or any other relevant consideration in front of this committee, those other considerations as to how the soda is refilled are irrelevant and can be moved past with some diligence. That means that if the attorneys want to state what the person is going to testify to or what they believe the person's relevance is to this committee, they can do so, or you can ask them to do so. But again, we are not taking any more neighborhood testimony. So if it amounts to that, we can move past it quite quickly.
All right. Thank you. I try always to defer and give latitude to the defense. I try my hardest, and I'm once again giving you tremendous latitude here because you missed your opportunity when I asked for neighbor witnesses. But nevertheless, I'm going to try to be judicious here and continue to give you continued latitude as I've done all afternoon, much to the chagrin of my colleagues. But I'm going to do it again and tell you I don't want to hear from no testimony from staff will be accepted. Moving forward, I think that's. I think we heard from the DJ, and I want to move forward from there.
We have a staff member in front of us.
Well, you said we should hear. He's already been presented. You've been sworn in already, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we'll go with this witness, and then from there, I just wanted to give you that heads up moving forward. Perhaps that'll help.
Before there are any final determinations as to relevance?
So the license committee will make a recommendation that will then be considered by the entire Common Council on whether or not Element will continue to be in business. They are up for their license. Element Lounge, this is on Water Street in 2021. A 24-year-old man, Diamond Arbery, was killed by gunfire outside of the club. And then just this July, 5 people were shot, 2 people were murdered outside of that club. So stick with us. We'll have much more on our news on Fox 6 News at 4. Thank you so much for joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Have a great afternoon.
Well, hello there. Thank you for staying up late with us tonight on the Fox 6 Sports Blitz. Lily Zhao in studio. Brandon Cruz en route back to Milwaukee, and our Tim Van Born still live for us out there in Arizona as the Packers are on a 27-23 win over the Arizona Cardinals. They moved to 4-1-1 on the season. Before we dive in with Tim, let's go to our starting lineup. The Pack attacks back in the desert. A thrilling fourth quarter battle goes Green Bay's way. Despite a historic season, though, the Brewers' star is dimmed out in Los Angeles, and could some changes be coming for the ball club? Plus, the sports crossover season continues.
From the moment we got on the trip, nothing seemed to go right. To in-game, there was a lot of things that didn't go right, but the guys kept battling, and that's what it takes in this league. And it's encouraging that we haven't played our best ball.
I think Matt LaFleur summed it up pretty well there. They faced adversity early going to the game. Plane delayed 5 hours by a mechanical issue. They did not play their best in that first half, especially though, Tim. But when the fourth quarter happened, that's when it mattered the most, and that's when their stars shined.
True. Xavier McKinney, I think, also offering a valuable perspective, saying, we can't keep doing this. You know, these are the Arizona Cardinals. We've kind of fiddled around with the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously burned by the Cleveland Browns. Dallas Cowboys are not great. We need to play better football. So while Matt LaFleur says, yes, we have not played our best thing in football yet, and that's a good thing, the caveat to that is we'd still like to play our best football. So we're waiting for that, Lily. As you point out, the Packers get to 4-1-1 with their first road win of the season. That is what they'll take away from this Sunday.
Now, before we kind of get into the video, Tim, you bring up a good point, though. They can't keep doing this. This is a team with Super Bowl aspirations.